Welcome to Fanfiction Audiobooks. One Piece, I'm undercover in the Navy. Chapter 21 End. 400 years ago, there was no Kingdom of Ghana or Kingdom of Leyden. There was only one country, and that was the Garrett Empire. Alan stood in front of the huge heart and slowly told the story. Riser frowned and said he didn't understand why he was telling him this. The Galii Empire was prosperous, the people were wealthy, the old king was benevolent, and the two little princes Garner and Leyden, one was well governed and the other was brave and good at fighting. The empire grew prosperous under the royal family's governance. Until that day, the officials of the world government arrived. Officials of the world government brought an invitation letter. If they invite the Garrett Empire to join the world government, they can get the protection of the navy. At the same time, they can use Mary Joa to cross the Red Earth continent. What they need to pay is gold from the sky. In the sky, Jan's expression remained unchanged. Looking at Duke Fellman, who was knocked down and got up again and again, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, which was interesting. Through the battle, he discovered that the person facing him was not a living person, but a cyborg with a fixed program implanted into it. In the factory, Riser continued to listen to Alan's story. The old king was in trouble and didn't know what to choose. The eldest prince Garner chose to join. He believed that by joining the world government, he could use government channels to develop the Garrett Empire more prosperously. The second prince Leyden chose to refuse. He believed that he would leave it to the heavenly gold. The money is used to build a fleet, and it is more important to enhance military strength. The two princes became more and more opposed to each other because of this incident. Later, the old king got angry and divided the territory occupied by the Galii Empire into two parts and gave it to the two princes to manage. The Prince of Ghana chose to surrender to the world government, and exchanged the heavenly gold for the scientific and technological support of the world government, and had the right to follow the naval trade route. At the same time, the Kingdom of Ghana separated an island to establish a naval base, and the Kingdom of Ghana became increasingly prosperous. Prince Leyden rejected the world government and chose to invest all his money in military force, forming his own army, expanding his fleet, and plundering everywhere to supplement military expenditures. The two countries were peaceful at first, but with the death of the old king, the two princes completely turned against each other. After a certain incident, King Leyden launched a brazen attack on the King of Ghana. The two countries went to war, and the people were in dire straits. The King of Ghana has money, hires troops, and hires giants to participate in wars through the world government and navy. He also buys a large amount of weapons in a steady stream. King Leyden's army is powerful. It has been fighting in the north and south for many years. It had the upper hand at the beginning, but then it gradually became unsustainable. Just when King Ghana was about to take it down in one fell swoop, a wizard appeared on King Leyden's side. He brought an army of demons from hell. These demons do not need to eat or drink, have no ideas, and will fight obediently. Leeser's face changed drastically as he thought of the demons and dead bodies outside. Duke Fellman, that wizard is Duke Fellman. Riser gritted his teeth. Alan shook his head, with a ghostly smile still on his face. No, not really. That wizard is the person behind Duke Fairman, the ancestor of my Walker Allen family. At this moment, Reese finally understood that Alan in front of him was the roaring master of this island. What are you going to do when you tell me this? Leeser clenched the sword in his hand. At this moment, only the sword in his hand could give him peace of mind. Alan looked at the huge heart behind him and said calmly, I want to give you eternal life. Lee's eyes were firm, and I didn't believe it. Like Duke Fellman, he is our gift of immortality, robbing other people of their life force to provide eternal energy. The power basis of the biological and chemical weapons built by our family is also here. Alan explained proudly. The demon army sold to King Leyden 400 years ago used the life force of the executed prisoners in the Leyden Kingdom. The Fairman weapons sold over the years are made from the life force of the residents of Fairman Island. Vitality is a good thing, because people can never die, and as long as they die, I can make people live forever, and I can make people live forever. At the same time, this can also become a perpetual motion machine. I dare to do things that my ancestors did not dare to do. As he spoke, Alan became completely excited. When Reese heard this, he looked at him even more warily. This man was crazy. He was no longer the playmate he used to pee in mud with when he was a child. As he spoke, Alan took out two boxes from behind, one filled with lifespan currency and the other with a devil fruit. Come on leather, eat this animal type phantom beast type white tiger fruit, eat these lifespan coins, and you can become a strong person right away. Isn't this your dream since childhood? Alan said seductively. Devil fruit, eternal life, is really tempting. But thinking about the dead Fairman Icelanders, he controlled his desire and shouted sternly, Alan, stop being stubborn. The navy is already here. Defeat Duke Fairman and you will be finished. Alan seemed to have heard some big joke. After laughing several times, he said nonchalantly, defeat Duke Fairman. I'm afraid you don't know how many times Duke Fairman can be resurrected by the life force stored here. Alan is very confident. With a bang, the hilltop above the factory was cut open, and Jan flew down, holding Duke Fellman's head in his left hand and the sword made of lifespan currency in his right hand. The slap came so fast. Break the heart, chop off the head, and destroy the body. I don't believe he can be resurrected with life force. Arvin stared at Alan with a playful smile. Alan was not panicked at all, but asked in surprise. Why? Duke Fairman defeated an entire government fleet 400 years ago. Curling his lips, Jan said disdainfully, maybe he is fighting a fake fleet. Most likely, the government does not want to hang you, so it sent people over to show off to the Kingdom of Ghana. Alan frowned, such an explanation was so forced. Don't you know how strong the strong people outside are? Jan felt that the guy opposite had some cognitive problems. Reiser, who was next to him, explained in a low voice. Alan is not in good health and has not been to the sea. Oh, then Jan will understand. The frog at the bottom of the well sits in the well and looks at the sky, not knowing how strong the strong people in the world are. Alan didn't care at all, and said calmly, do you know what life force can do besides being an energy source to make those demons and corpses move? Jan doesn't understand, and neither does Reese. Bang bang, Alan clapped his hands, and the nutrition warehouse was opened. The people inside walked out and took out a series of mechanical guns from the nutrition warehouse. Question, how does it feel to be held at gunpoint by thousands of people at the same time? So, these are the weapons you sell. Jan didn't care much. Alan on the other side sneers a few times, and you just pretend to be calm. Of course not, there are these. After the words fell, a large number of people with dull eyes appeared behind Alan, and they all held guns. Lesser, I will give you one last chance to surrender to me, otherwise, I will beat you into a hornet's nest. Alan is still trying to persuade Reiser to surrender, and Jan thinks this is the feeling of true love. Leiser shook his head, clenched the sword in his hand, and prepared for battle. Alan was so angry that he gritted his teeth and ordered, fire. Thousands of guns were fired, and light bullets fell like raindrops. Jan shook his head, it was of no use. Darkness swallows. The power of darkness spurted out from Jan's feet, instantly absorbing all the light bullets. Jan's feet were strong, and he instantly appeared in front of Alan, slashing him with a knife. End the fight. Looking at the box containing the devil fruit, Arvin took it away. Hand the box of lifespan currency to Reese. Looking at you, you should be in your 40s. Eat it quickly to recover. After saying that, Jan turned around and left regardless of Leiser's surprise. After killing Alan, in the royal palace of Ghana, the king of this generation watched the demon soldiers who were guarding him fall slowly, and sighed, someone defeated that Duke Fairman. Marie Joa, CP quickly walked towards the 5 old stars. Report, the demon slaves and corpse slaves of the celestial dragons are all lying on the ground. The 5 old stars looked at each other. It is indeed the power of the devil fruit. Every few years, Fairman Island places high bounties on the Superman-type extraction fruit, the distortion fruit, and the life fruit. So we made the right bet. The dead bodies and demons on Fairman Island fell to the ground one after another. Catherine watched the demons surging like mountains and seas in front of her fall to the ground. She breathed a sigh of relief. Her hand holding the knife could no longer use her strength, and she secretly sighed, my physique is still not very good. I still need to continue to exercise. Chapter 22 Remember. Marine Fando, Sengoku put down the information in his hands, pushed up his glasses, and looked at Kizaru who was cutting his nails across from him. Fairman Island knows. Kizaru put down his nail clippers and looked up at Sengoku. Hey, isn't that Duke Fairman's territory? Senguo pushed up his glasses again and leaned back. Yan has killed that evil family. Now that the Revolutionary Army and CP have experts on which island, there is a high probability that they will fight. Hey! The Revolutionary Army and CP people are really scary. Kizaru looked like I was scared. Sengoku suppressed his anger and continued, Doflamingo wants the location of this island and the transportation thoroughfare. Kizaru's face instantly became tangled. What's even scarier is that the Shishibukai are involved. At this moment, Warring States finally couldn't hold back his anger. Stop the ink stain and bring me people there quickly. This is a multiplayer game. Your task is to stand firm on Fairman Island and build a base for our navy there. Turn the transportation artery that once controlled more than a dozen kingdoms upstream and downstream into an important node for our navy to control the great shipping route. Understand? Sengoku's anger finally made Kizaru become a little more serious, accept the mission and leave. Yan walked out of the factory and came to where Catherine and others were. He looked at the navy who was resting on the spot, glanced at the town of Fairman down the mountain, and said calmly, Everyone, get back to the ship immediately, let's go to the kingdom of Ghana. Just as Catherine and Mahler were about to speak, they heard a loud noise. At some point, the sky was filled with dark clouds and lightning began to appear. Yan felt the terrifying momentum coming from the bottom of the mountain, and felt that a great terror was coming. The sailors of the 10 Commandments detachment present had not yet reacted. After being glared at by Yan, they all stood up and headed towards the warship. On the warship, Gino is organizing the navy stationed here to reorganize the defense line and prepare for various impacts. However, what he welcomed was Yan leading his men back. In the factory, Lesser held a box of lifespan coins and shed tears of excitement. These are life-saving things. After swallowing the largest piece of lifespan currency in one gulp, Leeser felt the power beginning to recover in his body and turned around to leave with joy. The moment he turned around, he vaguely heard the sound of a gunshot. The masked man stood at the door of the factory, his right hand making a shooting gesture. Finger gun explosion. The masked man slowly walked in while looking at the fallen Leeser. When you take something that doesn't belong to you, you have to be prepared to lose it. The masked man took out his phone and began to contact people on his side, asking them to come in to receive the supplies. After hanging up the phone, the masked man calmly stepped forward. When he wanted to take the last box of lifespan coins, his hand was grabbed. In the masked man's surprised eyes, Leeser, who had been hit by a flying finger gun, gave him a ferocious smile. Death over the shoulder. Grabbing the masked man's hand, he threw him violently over the shoulder, slamming him against the wall. Reiser covered the wound caused by the flying finger gun, gasping for air, and stared at the man who had regained his feet with fierce eyes. The masked man appeared to be unharmed. Long, who had already reached the ruins of the castle, sensed the sound in the factory. A smile appeared on his lips, and he rushed down quickly. The dark clouds in the sky began to thicken, and thunder began to gather, ready to go. In the factory, Reiser and the masked man were engaged in a physical fight. Lei Se held the big sword, and every attack was full of momentum that could split Huashan Mountain. The masked man shook hands into a fist, and his right hand seemed to be made of steel, and he took Leeser's sword forcefully. The violent attack allowed the two to destroy the factory on the ground in a very short period of time. Lesser carried the box containing the lifespan currency behind his back, preparing to fight tooth and nail. Just when the two were about to collide again, a bolt of thunder fell from the sky, causing the two to separate. The masked man looked at the man falling from the sky, surrounded by crows, and his pupils shrank sharply. Why, how could a man like you appear here? The moment the masked man saw the dragon, he stuttered, while Leeser stared at the dragon warily. Long glanced at the faintly reflective steel fingers under the damaged glove on the masked man's right hand, snorted coldly, and looked at Leeser with a surprised look. The great sword Leeser, I really didn't expect that the swordsman who once traversed the new world could meet here. Leeser jumped up and backed away, his expression even more wary. Who are you and how do you know me? The masked man showed a look of understanding when he heard the sword thunder. Well, how could I not recognize the existence that the naval hero Garp calls difficult to beat? Long smiled slightly. Reiser was in a daze. Hero Garp, did that nightmare praise him? However, Reiser quickly came to his senses, took a deep breath, and adjusted his condition. None of these two seemed easy to deal with, so he had better be careful. Long retracted his eyes and looked at the masked man. Your CP on Terra Island killed one of our cotters, and I want to get it back today. Long said his purpose easily, and the masked man smiled bitterly. Can he really escape from such an existence? After calming himself down, the masked man roared, his body expanded, and a terrifying standing mechanical Tyrannosaurus Rex appeared in the factory. The right hand of Tyrannosaurus Rex is a huge mechanical arm. The dragon was not afraid at all, the lightning in the sky became more raging, and the strong wind gathered, as if like a soldier, he was ready to fight for his master at any time. The roar of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the sword light tearing apart the heaven and the earth, the condensed lightning, and the violent wind that wants to tear everything apart, are raging and intertwined in the sky. The next day, Yuan came out of the warship office and bought a newspaper. There is only one big headline. Duke Fairman of Fairman Island violated the world government and secretly trafficked people, but was stopped by Rear Admiral Eiffel Yavin. The second one is the horrific natural disaster on Fairman Island. A once-in-a-century storm hits Fairman Island. When Kizaru arrived slowly, someone had already started to log into Fairman Island, wanting to devour this unclaimed land. Unfortunately, they were all blocked by a strange swordsman. Malinfando, Garp watched the news and laughed. As soon as I saw that huge sword, I knew it was that guy from Leisure. Only he can wield such a heavy sword. Garp was full of ridicule, but looking at the shallow scar on his right iron fist, he didn't exaggerate. On the warship, Arvin pushed the devil fruit to Catherine. Animal-type devil fruit can make up for your body's deficiencies. Arwen's brisk voice made Catherine's body tremble. This man still remembers my flaws. Chapter 23 Spangdine Real Dog. But... flaws. It's all because of you. I'm in good health and I eat deliciously. Where are the flaws? Please explain it clearly to me. While saying that, Catherine also showed off her figure. She has a curved front and a curved back. She has long legs, a thin waist, and a big chest. Where are the flaws? Arvin held his forehead and was speechless. Well, it was his fault. Facing the unreasonable woman, Arvin respectfully offered the devil fruit, and Catherine took it proudly. I accept your gift of apology. Catherine was as proud as a swan and left with her beautiful neck straightened out. Yuan sat there with a smile on his lips. Not long after, a huge white tiger appeared on the deck, and the temperature of the entire warship dropped suddenly. The Navy were frightened when they saw the animal transformed by Catherine. On the deck, Catherine clenched her fists, and the cold air froze along the air with her thoughts, and an ice sword emerged. At the same time, she felt that her domineering power had also increased. Physical fitness has also been improved. The pinnacle of animal fruits is a body as powerful as Kaido's. Waving the ice sword in his hand, a slash shot into the sky. Catherine smiled with satisfaction and said nothing. Her physical fitness increased, and her combat effectiveness immediately changed significantly. In the office, Yuan received a call from Long. We took away the weapons. Long hung up the phone on top of the ruins and casually glanced at the body of the masked man lying on the ground. Good mood. Leisure went back with the lifespan currency, turned the old women in his store into young girls again, packed up his bags, and left with the dragon. He doesn't like CP, nor does he like pirates. He has offended Garp in the Navy, and now, he can only join the Revolutionary Army. Long's words of using force only to show off his abilities stopped him. There is also the saying that if you join any force, Fairman Island will never become what it is now. Marie Joa and Qing Ji were sleeping in the place where transit visas were processed. One by one, the businessmen who had ulterior motives left with ugly expressions. In the New World, a volcano fell, smashing ships of unknown origin. Fairman Island, an unknown fleet came here, and faced an 8-foot-high Megatama. After 3 attempts, the entire underground world was turned upside down. In the palace of Dressrosa, Doflamingo was walking around angrily. The surrounding family cotters also had gloomy expressions. Dover, our arms fleet in the underground world was destroyed by Akainu. Marie Joa was blocked by a blue pheasant. Those in the underground world who wanted to occupy Fairman Island were also destroyed by Kizaru. What should we do now? Treble asked anxiously. This time, they suffered heavy losses. Doflamingo looked quite gloomy. Why haven't we received any information about Fairman Island from other sources besides Yuan? Doflamingo asked. Everyone present was dumbfounded. What is going on? Yes, why was it that Yuan gave them the information, and the underground world continued to obtain it after they got the information? This is not in line with the rules. This was not the end, Doflamingo continued, and why does Akainu know where we are going to Fishman Island where the fleet will dive? This is a confusing question. The result is obvious, there is a mole in their pirate group. Treble and others took a step back. They were tricked. At Marigio's navigation office, Spang Dine personally led people to investigate. Some businessmen changed their expressions, not understanding that no CP was coming to investigate them. All the fleets here, don't let anyone go. Any illegal assets must be taken away from me. Anyone who dares to break the laws of the world government must be severely punished. Spandane seemed to be crazy, forgetting the treasures that the merchants usually provided him. The CP agents immediately took people to check. Aoki yawned and strolled out, took a look at Spangdine, and said sleepily, "There is news from Akainu that Doflamingo's arms fleet has been destroyed, and the underground world going to Fairman Island has become a nightmare. It was destroyed by Kizaru, you can suppress it here, and our cooperation will officially end this time." Spangdane nodded with an ugly expression. "Let Marshal Warring States remember the agreement. After the base on Fairman Island is built, we cannot stop the CP when we borrow the road." Ching Pheasant waved his hand, "No problem." In the Marshal's office of Marine Fando, 2 people, Crane and Garp, were sitting in front of Sengoku. The 3 generals were gone, and Garp was recalled. There were 3 chess pieces placed in front of Warring States, and the 3 of them were smiling. Warring States was the first to speak, "Our navy has become the biggest profiteer on Fairman Island this time." He smiled for the first time in a long time. CP lost a senior agent with a lieutenant general's combat power. The Revolutionary Army has explored their weakness of lacking high-end combat power. At the same time, it has attacked the underground world, weakened Doflamingo, and let him know who is really the overlord can be said to accomplish multiple things with one stone. Warring States nodded. Although Spangdine is a bit hypocritical and cunning, he is not someone who cannot cooperate. I personally suggest that we should promote Spondum, so that the relationship between us and CP can be further eased, which will help us use CP's channels and reduce some troubles. Warring States said in a deep voice. He has a relationship with Spangdine. He was the one who lent the golden telephone bug to Spangdine and asked it to destroy O'Hara Island. Since then, Spangda has been promoted to a higher position, and the 2 of them have maintained a cooperative friendship. This time after learning that CP died in battle, Spanda Yu decisively joined forces with Sengoku to block the channel information of the underground world, betrayed Doflamingo's intelligence, let Akainu destroy the opponent's fleet, and then bewitched the people in the underground world to join forces. A group of fleets went to capture Felman, giving Kizaru a chance to destroy it. Later, Spandane himself thoroughly investigated the illegal merchants at Maragio Harbor and promoted the world government's protection of legal authority. After this is completed, a wave of political achievements will be made to make up for the losses and show it to the 5 old stars. At the 5 old stars, Spangdine is making a report. Why did the loss of CP agents occur? The golden-haired 5 old star asked with an unpleasant look on his face. Spangdine quickly stood up straight and replied, "It is a necessary sacrifice. If you send an agent who is too weak to test the combat effectiveness of the Revolutionary Army, you will send a similar agent. The purpose is to test the combat power level of the Revolutionary Army. The current result is that the Revolutionary Army lacks high-end combat power and is very fond of its partners. Last time we killed a branch chief of the Revolutionary Army on Terra Island. This time, the dragon appeared directly. This is enough to prove that the Revolutionary Army lacks high-end combat power and values its comrades enough to facilitate our next layout." The 5 old stars looked at each other. Jin Changda nodded and said calmly, "If that's the case, then this time it's over." Spangdane made a hesitant expression. Jinda Wulioxing frowned, "Is there anything else?" Spangdane gritted his teeth and said with a righteous expression, "Lord Wulioxing, it's really not me who is suing the Navy. It's the Navy that is too uncooperative. After the outbreak on Fairman Island, I communicated with the Warring States Marshal and asked him to send people over as soon as possible to clean up the mess. However, Kizaru still arrived late and allowed the Revolutionary Army to run away. Otherwise, with Kizaru's combat power, at least he would be held back. Dragon, it's okay to buy time for our later support." After Spangdine finished speaking, he lowered his head and began to count the cracks in the floor. Wulioxing was silent for a while. "Okay, we already know, you go down." Chapter 24. After Spangdine left, the sword-wielding 5 old stars spoke, "What should I do?" Question the Warring States period. The bald 5 old star said directly, "Test the situation there." Bulu, Wulioxing hasn't called yet, but Warring States' call has already come. A responsible marine walked in with a phone bug in his arms. "Wulioxing, this is Marshal Warring States' phone number." Catch. The Navy put the phone bug on the table respectfully, answered the call, and went out immediately. Walao Sing, I am Warring States, and I want to sue Spangdine from the CP department. He ate alone, which caused us to miss the best opportunity to arrest the revolutionary dragon. He opened his mouth with an angry complaint. The 5 old stars looked at each other, and finally the old man holding the sword spoke, if nothing happens, just hang up. The world government has its own considerations and cannot tolerate your arrogance. Sengoku hung up the phone angrily. The 5 old stars looked at each other. It seems there is no collusion and there is still a lot of hatred between the two sides. These are the 2 most important departments of the world government. If they unite, we will have a headache. Malinfando, Sengoku looked at Crane and Garp sitting opposite him, and smiled. Spangdine also smiled after returning to his office. No matter how cunning you 5 old men are, you will still be plotted by our silent agreement. After Malinfando calculated the 5 old stars, Sengoku, he and Garp began to discuss the Shishibukai. Crocodile was captured, Hawkeye only wanted the sword, Hancock only wanted Daughter Island, Moria was hiding in the triangle area and couldn't come out, Jinbe had no ambition, it was for the sake of justice, the 5 of them got rid of Crocodile, and the remaining all 4 are easy to deal with, only Bear and Doflamingo are difficult to deal with. Sengoku's face was gloomy. The Shishibukai and the others had 2 main criteria for their initial selection, strength and pirate needs. To this day, the strength of every Kibukai under the king has been verified by time. In 20 years, countless pirates have challenged them, and they have never failed. This is proof of strength. However, after the recent crocodile incident, Sengoku looked at everyone in the Shishibukai and found that some of their chains were not too tight and needed to be tightened. Ha 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 ha, if it doesn't work, I'll just go look for them one by one and beat them all up. Garp frowned and said disdainfully. Why do the Kaiwahei under the king dare to be so arrogant just because they have never been beaten by me? How can they still be so crazy if they are beaten by me? Crocodile steals the country, damn it. Moria formed a zombie army, and I told him what strength meant. Hawkeye's swordsmanship, I have killed more than 1 or 2 great swordsmen with my fists. The country of Hancock and Jinbe, I told them what it means to destroy a country by 1 person. Doflamingo wants to be king, I can tell him with my fist, I can hammer him to death. Bear doesn't know the reason, hit him until he talks. He glanced at Garp speechlessly. This old guy knew how to fight and kill. Warring States laughed, if one day I really feel that I can't control it, it wouldn't be a bad idea to let you give them a good beating. The Warring States period must not deny that unlike this era of 3 generals, 2 generals and a series of backbone lieutenant generals, in their era, there were 2 generals, a serious shortage of lieutenants, and the controllable territory was not large. The true strength of the navy in that era, the backbone and the final guarantee of dignity, is actually Garp's force. It was an existence that could chase Roger and suppress a series of silver medal players at that time. His title of hero was not awarded by the world government, but was earned with his bare hands. After the Valley of the Gods incident, the Heavenly Dragons and the world government awarded them the title of hero, but the Valley of the Gods incident was not announced. At that time, countless pirates refused to obey Garp, and were beaten down by Garp with 1 punch. In the last era, there were too many powerful pirates and too few naval forces to suppress them. Among the pirates, there are captain-level existences such as Roger, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Big Mom, Redfield, Wang Ji, John, and Bundy Waldo. Others like Rayleigh and Jabba are not captains, but their combat prowess is incredible. There are not many. The pirates at that time were truly talented. You know, the Navy has always been targeting the entire pirate group, not a particular pirate group. At that time, the only people the Navy could take action on were Sengoku, Zifa, Garp, and Sora. One of Zifa and Warring States has to be stationed in Marineland or Marijoya all year round, and the air cannot move around. Only Garp can fight everywhere and suppress the sea. The hero who emerges is fearless. He thought Sengoku was joking, but when he looked over, he found that Sengoku was talking about this matter seriously. This is interesting. Sensing his eyes, Warring States smiled and continued, I'm not kidding. If one day the king of the Kibukai wants to cause trouble, there is only one best way, and that is to crush them ourselves. If the balance composed of the 3 parties is to be broken, it must be done by ourselves. The Yonko is black, we are white, and the Shishibukai are grey. But when black and white are at war, grey is not allowed to exist. It's awesome that black and white take it all, but you have to know that once black and white fight, grey is bound to be the first to clean up. Crane fell silent. The three-person meeting with Malinfando also ended. Yuan brought the fleet to the capital of the Kingdom of Ghana. As soon as he stepped into the Kingdom of Ghana, Yavin felt the prosperity. People on the road hold their heads high and their faces full of confidence, and the shops on the street are full of various products. The only discrepancy is that there are too many soldiers patrolling back and forth, and generals wearing armor are also patrolling from time to time. Occasionally Yuan can see the local navy patrolling. Such a magical scene made Yuan puzzled. The local navy has most likely received money from the Kingdom of Ghana, so it patrols so frequently. Looking at the bodies of those kingdom soldiers, there are traces of naval training methods. There is a high probability that the navy here has colluded with the kingdom. Mahler stated the results of his observations. When Yuan came to the palace, he saw the upright king of Ghana and the naval captain Shi Ping stationed there. The king of Ghana held a banquet to welcome Yuan, and then gave everyone in the detachment a large envelope. Yuan touched the thickness and smiled, which was interesting. King Ghana, please tell me what you have to say. The navy belongs to the world government, and the world government serves the participating countries. Your behavior makes me extremely flustered. The straightforward words made King Ghana a little speechless and couldn't help but look at Colonel Shi Ping. Yuan narrowed his eyes and looked at the two people who were making eye contact. He became more and more sure that they were colluding together, but he didn't know who was the leader. Colonel Shi Ping gave a wry smile. He was the one who got paid to do things, but he quickly got up and poured a glass of wine for Yuan himself. He then lowered his body to pour wine for Catherine and others. Finally, he walked back to his seat and said, Major General Yuan, let me tell you the truth, the possible existence of the Golden Land did make everyone a little panicked at first. But as our navy was stationed, the pirates who came here did not cause a big commotion. Therefore, the King of Ghana did not want to break the rumors and wanted to make some money from the pirates. Yuan suddenly understood. Thinking about the rumors that Alan had said about the Kingdom of Ghana having a developed economy and strong strength, he understood a little bit. You want us to come for a tour? It's best if we don't find out anything and then leave. Then you take the opportunity to do business with the pirates who came to the Golden Land, right? King Ghana and Shi Ping nodded wildly, yes, that's it. They want to make money from pirates. Sure, no problem. Yuan put away the envelope with peace of mind. King Ghana and Shi Ping breathed a sigh of relief together, which was great. After confirming the other party's attitude, Yuan stood up. I will not attend the banquet. If you have time, can you arrange for someone to replenish supplies for my fleet and let my men rest here? I just happened to be lazy and went out for a while. Yuan asked with a smile. The King of Ghana is also a cheerful person and agreed directly, no problem. If Yuan doesn't sue him for wasting naval power, then everything will be easy to explain. The two sides hit it off. One person from the 10 Commandments detachment received a certain amount of income, and the matter was concealed from the public. Before leaving the house, Yuan turned to King Ghana and said, by the way, if that's the case, why not let the people from my detachment help you patrol while pretending to be investigating? This will attract more people to come over. The King of Ghana was overjoyed, it was very good. After leaving the palace and returning to the accommodation area, Yuan put away his smile and told Mahler and Catherine with a gloomy face, Mahler, you are responsible for investigating the Kingdom of Ghana and see to what extent they colluded and what they have done. What do you want to do? Mahler agreed, he was good at this. Then Yuan looked at Catherine, you are responsible for organizing the team and staying vigilant at all times. Even if the King of Ghana has no bad intentions and does not harm the interests of the people, the pirates in the first half of the Grand Route will probably find a way to sneak in. Or directly the most ferocious siege. After giving the task, Yuan said that he would leave for a while to verify something. Chapter 25 There are old Yinbai everywhere. In the palace of King Leighton, who had grey hair and beard but had swollen muscles, had a gloomy face. He clenched his fists and sat on the throne. Under the throne, generals wearing armor and carrying weapons knelt tremblingly. 3 demon bodies lay in the center of the hall, with some high-tech firearms placed next to the bodies. The scene fell into embarrassment, and no one spoke for a while. Is the Fairman family wiped out like this? Are the weapons we bought useless? King Leighton smashed the armrest of the throne and asked angrily. The generals below looked at each other, and finally the leading white-haired veteran said helplessly, Your Majesty, yes, the kind Eiffel in the navy will do it. King Leighton snorted coldly and was in a very bad mood. So our plan to destroy Ghana has been ended. King Layton's face was full of anger. Damn the navy. The army of undead demons we prepared and the continuous firing machine guns we prepared are useless. King Layton was still a little unwilling. As time goes by, the gap between their Layton kingdom and the neighboring kingdom of Ghana is getting wider and wider. A year ago, he made a deal with Alan. He gave Alan a large amount of money, plus 5 people, and Alan processed demons for him, plus weapons with a lifespan currency as a power source. He plans to use his army of undead demons and those weapons to overthrow the kingdom of Ghana. But now, it took a year to prepare, but it was all ruined in one day. The leading white-haired general stood up, clenched his fist with one hand and hit his chest, and said solemnly, "Your Majesty, our kingdom of Layton was founded by force, and we stand proudly in the world. We rely not on the army of demons, but on the bravery and skill of our soldiers of the kingdom of Layton. I think we should send troops immediately to start a decisive battle between the two countries and drag the kingdom of Ghana into the war." After hearing this, the generals behind him continued to say that they and others were brave and not afraid of death. King Layton showed a satisfied expression. "So good. These are my generals, King Layton." King Layton stood up, waved his hand, and said energetically, "The country has recruited 50 soldiers, and the military rations need to be enough for 1 year. In half a month, we will send troops to the kingdom of Ghana to end the 400 years of grudges." The generals in the hall shouted "Long live" and walked down in high spirits. "Let the generals go down to prepare." King Layton walked into the harem. A charming beauty immediately came up to him and said delicately, "Your Majesty, why do you come to see me so late?" The woman wearing the unique clothes of the pirate world blinked her charming eyes and her tone was full of resentment. King Layton picked up the beauty and fell on the big bed, with lust in his eyes. "Beauty, I also want to come back early, but you also know that Guy Fairman has been killed, and our army of undead demons has been reduced to waste. I need to think of another way to conquer the kingdom of Ghana." The woman's sexy lips were slightly open, obviously frightened. However, not long after, the woman's sexy lips curved into a smile, and she drew circles on King Layton's chest with her fingers. "In that case, why don't we collude with the pirates? The kingdom of Ghana has the legend of a golden land. There must be a lot of pirates gathering recently. We have formed a pirate coalition, and its combat effectiveness should be no less than that of the undead demon army." When King Layton heard this, his eyes flashed, he kissed the beauty in his arms fiercely, and waved the serving maids to exit. "This is indeed my clever tip. It solves the problem in just one sentence. Winning a beauty like you is comparable to winning an army of millions." The grey-haired King Layton performed on the spot what it means to grow stronger with age. In the kingdom of Layton, the dragon and Betty were wandering around like travelers and observing. The old, weak, women and children gathered in the dilapidated thatched house, and the drunk men were talking and shouting that women were useless. The only men who didn't beat their wives were sleeping skinny in dilapidated corners, beside dilapidated cities, and under bridges. The soldiers walking back and forth were all tall and round, with muskets on their waists and long knives in their hands. They rushed into one house after another and snatched out bags of food. Some people cried and begged them to let go and give their families a way out. The slightly better soldiers just kicked away the civilians who were blocking them. The soldiers who were viciously exposed shot the man to death with a gun. Seeing that the woman at home was good, they forced him into the room. Looking at this scene, Long couldn't help but close his eyes, and with a wave of his hand, a wind blade killed the soldier. "Betty, this is the reason for our revolution. We are not trying to rebel against the world government, but we are trying to overthrow all tyranny." The cold voice revealed Long's determination. On the other side of the Layton kingdom, in a small town close to the kingdom of Ghana, Yan changed into ordinary people's clothes, with a gentle smile on his face, and a short knife on his waist. He walked in the Layton kingdom with the attitude of a sunny young man. In a small town. Looking at the closed town, Yan scratched his head. What happened here? Finally, I found an open pub, pushed the door open, and walked in. There was only a thin, middle-aged man cleaning wine glasses at the bar. Yan walked over with a smile. "Uncle, have a glass of your strongest wine." Yan leaned against the bar, as if he just realized that the whole town was empty. "By the way, why is there no one in your town?" The tavern uncle took out a bottle of wine without a label from under the counter, unscrewed the cork, poured a glass for Yan, and said sadly, "They all ran away for their lives." Escape. Yan was stunned. What does this mean? A year and a half ago, King Layton married his 7th wife, number 60, who is now Princess Feline. Then we started to increase all kinds of heavy taxes here. Some people couldn't survive and fled for their lives. Some people went to the kingdom of Ghana and heard that the king of Ghana there was a benevolent king as always. Although he needs more gold from heaven, the kingdom of Ghana has always been very wealthy. The tavern owner laughed to himself when he mentioned the gold in the sky. We used to laugh at the fact that the kingdom of Ghana needs to pay heavenly gold, but now our king has imposed taxes that are more terrifying than heavenly gold. Yan took a sip of wine, feeling the burning sting in his throat, and said casually, "Oh, is it because of this?" The tavern man shook his head, and it was not just this, there were rumors of the Golden Land a month ago in the kingdom of Ghana. A large number of pirates poured into the nearby waters. The kingdom of Ghana has a naval base, and a large number of the navy are local people. They will not spare any effort to protect it. Those pirates swarmed into our laden kingdom. Yan sighed secretly in his heart, as expected, that King of Ghana was indeed hiding something. Didn't those navy protect you? You know, even if it is a non-governmental member country, the navy will lend a helping hand when it sees it. The tavern owner smiled sadly this time. Those people at the navy headquarters don't know that Colonel Shi Ping of the Kingdom of Ghana married the eldest daughter of the King of Ghana. Basically, the navy at that base married women from the Kingdom of Ghana. They wish we would be killed by pirates. Yan held his forehead, what else could he say? All I can say is that I never expected that a naval base would be infiltrated. But this comes from the infiltration of the Funder's father, which has its own natural advantages. Yan couldn't help but complain. He could all think of Shi Ping's state. Faced with the goodwill from the leader of the franchise country, he is not asked to do anything harmful to nature. He is just doing what is within his ability, so he will naturally not refuse. Thinking of the King of Ghana with a gentle smile that made people couldn't help but get close to him, Yan couldn't help but sigh, there are old Yinbai everywhere. Chapter 26, Weak people can just take care of themselves. After sighing, Yan held the wine glass and looked at the empty town through the half-open door of the tavern, with the occasional breeze blowing by. He drank by himself and took a sip of the fruit presented by the tavern uncle from time to time, which also had a unique flavor. Am I spending the least money to get the biggest deal? I'm really happy to have a whole town covered. After finishing the glass of wine in one gulp, Yan put down Bailey and said casually. The tavern uncle ignored him and just kept wiping the wine glass, as if he could never finish wiping it. Uncle, if one day you are ruled by the King of Ghana, I will drink here again. Because then, there should be more types of drinks. Yan's voice came from far away. The tavern uncle's body was shaken and he didn't say anything. He just took out a pistol, a sword and a recruitment order from under the bar. He looked at these three things and murmured. I won't see you again, because I'm going to the battlefield soon to fight. The tavern uncle never expected that he would be drafted again after being discharged for many years. He locked the door of the tavern, took out an old horse from the back, mounted it, and headed towards the capital of Leyden. Yan left the tavern, laughed loudly, spread his black wings, and flew into the sky. Fly to the highest sky and see the most beautiful scenery. And then, got hit. Yan was hit on the waist by the golden spaceship, turned over in mid-air, and looked around fiercely. Who is so immoral? Can't you see anyone here? On the spaceship made of gold, Enel, the big earlobe god, was covering his wound, unaware that he had just hit a demon. When Yan saw the huge golden spaceship, he was silent for a moment, chased after him, and landed on the spaceship. He looked at the injured Enel quietly and couldn't help but frown and said. It's too late. You've already been defeated by Straw Hat. Enelo looked at Yan in confusion, who is this guy, how come? Qinghai people. Enelo frowned, holding the golden scepter in his right hand, the thunder in his body waiting to be unleashed. Yan did not deny it, but looked at the huge golden spaceship with a satisfied look. After verifying his suspicion about the King of Ghana, what he had to do was very simple, come to Sky Island to plunder wealth. Enelo raised his hand and hit him with a thunderbolt. Yan slapped it away and sneered. He stepped forward and punched Enelo in the stomach. The huge force directly knocked Enelo away. Enelo's pupils shrank sharply in mid-air, and his heart net couldn't capture Yan's movements. What was going on? The domineering power of Jai Wen's is very strong, and your range is even more terrifying. It's a pity that your body's reflexes are not good enough. Feeling that the opponent's physical fitness was like that of a novice among the strongest, Yan said disdainfully. The natural system has been completely embarrassed by you and Crocodile. One Piece had two major bug abilities in the early stage, the rustling fruit and the thundering fruit. Then the former was defeated by Luffy's bloody fist, and the latter was directly defeated by Rubber Sky. Yan looked at Enelu in front of him and wanted to complain, old thief Oda knows nothing about One Piece. Regardless of Enelu's thoughts, Yan threw him directly to the ground, sat on the throne, and infected the entire spacecraft's operating system with darkness, causing it to fall downwards. Eneru stood up unsteadily, raised his right hand, and aimed it at Yan. Just as he was about to discharge, he was punched in the stomach by Yan. The huge pain caused by the huge force made him kneel down. It hurts too much. Enelu raised his head and saw Yan's indifferent eyes. He wanted to turn into lightning and leave, but Yan grabbed him and punched him in the stomach. The pain that followed made his body curl up even more. Demon! Qinghai people are all devils. Enelu couldn't help but murmured. Why can you hit me? Because this is the iron fist of love. Yan replied subconsciously, and then regretted it. This was Garp's line. Before Enel could react, Yan accidentally stepped on him again. This time, he vomited blood. Enelu wanted to get up angrily, but was suppressed again. After doing this several times, Enelu finally stopped struggling. Powerful fruit, incorrect development, poor knowledge, weak body, you ask me to tell you what you are good at. Yan mocked unbridledly. Then Enelu said in confusion that except for the first sentence, he didn't understand the rest. Yan took over the spacecraft and controlled it to fly to the empty island. Enelu doesn't understand and doesn't dare to speak. What are you going to do? When the huge gold ship flew back to Sky Island, the celebrating Sandians and Sky Island natives were frightened. The people of the Straw Hat Pirates were even more frightened. Why is that monster back? Usopp's tongue was tied in fear. Luffy stared at the ship seriously, getting ready to fight again. Yan used his knowledge and domineering energy to frantically search for the location of the Golden Bell. Controlling the spaceship and wandering around the empty island, he didn't care about the Straw Hats below. Hey, big-eared thief, get up and use your hard net to search for the Golden Bell for me. How dare you order me? Enelu was furious, but was suppressed by Yan's fist. He couldn't escape, couldn't be beaten, and had no choice but to accept his fate. Enel reluctantly pointed out the direction and acted as a humanoid radar. The spaceship headed in the direction of the Golden Clock. In this direction, is the Golden Clock. Nico Robin looked at the direction of the spacecraft and couldn't help but murmured. Luffy lowered his hat and whispered, Zoro, Sanji, take care of everyone. Robin, tell me the route, and I will defeat him. With a firm look and a decisive command, Luffy showed leadership qualities at this moment. Yan sat on the gold boat and yawned, and he heard this. A glance at Enelu. You are such a loser. You are a dignified natural type, but you can't beat a little guy who doesn't know how to arm himself. Enelu didn't dare to refute. The huge golden clock and the black historical text. Yan looked at these two things with a satisfied smile. If you don't give any gifts during the holidays this year, I will give you a golden clock. An advertisement came into Yan's mind. Can you lift it? Pointing to the golden clock, Yan asked Enelu. Swallowing, Enelu said it was impossible, who could do this? The contempt in Yan's eyes became even greater. That's it. It seems I have to do it myself. It's really helpless. It would be great if Catherine was here at this time. She ate the white tiger fruit and it was just perfect for carrying this after she transformed. Muttering in his mouth, Yan jumped down and came to the Golden Bell. In the shocked eyes of God Genful, Luffy and others who arrived later, he grabbed the Golden Bell with one hand and was about to put it down. On the spaceship. Yan glanced at Luffy casually, hey, you really dare to chase him? Rubber pistol. Get started without saying a word. Put down the Golden Bell, it belongs to the Sandians. The Sandians who followed jumped up and attacked as well. Then Yan looked at Luffy and the others, smiled evilly, and casually threw the Golden Bell over. You guys are ready. Under the influence of Yan's huge power, the huge Golden Bell flew towards Luffy and others. The Sandians, the Straw Hats, and the Skylanders all ran away. The helpless force smashed a big hole into the ground. Luffy and the others were covered in cold sweat, and their eyes were full of panic. What kind of monster was this? Hey! Yan smiled and said hello. I'll give it back to you, but it's you who don't live up to your expectations and can't handle it. Don't dare to answer the phone, Don't dare to answer the phone at all. Yuan drew out the short knife from his waist and slashed it casually, cutting the entire Sky Island land into 2 pieces. Yuan stood on the side of the Golden Bell and looked at Luffy and others opposite. This time, his eyes were full of indifference. The weak should do the things of the weak. Chapter 27 Voluntary Surrender. Luffy and others standing on the other side could vaguely see the blue sea through the gap cut by Yuan. Enel, who was lying on the back of the golden spaceship, swallowed crazily when he saw this scene. Horror, unparalleled terror. This man sliced open the empty island with a casual blow. Putting away the dagger and ignoring the others, Yuan went to get the golden bell. Rubber pistol. A roar came, and Yuan sighed. He was obviously warned, but why was he still so brave? He picked up the golden clock, covered in armor, and swung it casually, sending Luffy flying away. Carrying the golden bell to the golden spaceship without even looking at it. Sitting on the golden spaceship, looking at the historical text embedded in the golden clock, I took out the phone bug and dialed the number of the Warring States period. Hey, Marshal, I've built a golden spaceship and am ready to fly back to my headquarters. Warring States sitting in the office was shocked. What the hell is this? Golden spaceship? What it is? Who is so extravagant to build a spaceship out of gold? Could it be that I am no longer keeping up with the times? Warring States didn't know how to answer the call. However, he still frowned. Drive back to the headquarters. Then who is responsible for solving the problems in the Kingdom of Ghana? Yuan yawned and said nonchalantly, anyone can go. Now where are Catherine and Mahler guarding? I have to drive back this golden spaceship made of pure gold first. I think he's worth a year's worth of our Navy's military expenditures. Looking at the huge golden spaceship, Yuan made a comment. After a long silence, Sengoku slowly spoke, very good, Kizaru will take over the affairs of the Kingdom of Ghana. A year's worth of military spending, the Warring States period covered my heart, such exciting news. Enelu wants to say that the ship is his. But thinking about the terrifying scene of Yuan cutting open the empty island with a knife, he got scared. He used to think that by transforming into thunder and lightning he would be invincible. But Yuan told him in an armed tone that it was nonsense. After hanging up the phone and looking at the shivering Enelu, Yuan had a smile on his lips. Do you want to become as strong as me? Enelu was stunned when he heard this, and this is such a good thing. Can I? Yuan nodded, you have this potential. Thinking about Enelu's strength in the original work, Yuan felt that if he worked hard, received Zifa's training, and learned how to apply the fruits with the 3 generals, it would be no problem to have the power of a substitute general. The substitute general is also the top combat power on the sea. As for the general's combat power, Yuan felt a little doubtful looking at Enelu's age. Although I really don't want to admit it, the current 3 generals almost achieved general-level combat power when they were around 40 years old, and then they maintained their peak period. They always hoped to make further progress. Although Yuan nodded and Enelu was very happy, Enelu thought about it and stepped back sharply. Why are you helping me? We don't know each other at all. Alertness rises. Yawning, Yuan felt a little sleepy. First, you didn't break the law. Second, you paid enough tuition. The huge golden spaceship is stepping under my feet. This tuition fee is really substantial. The golden spaceship flew from the sky to marine land. When there was a thunderstorm on the way, Yuan slashed away. When he encountered various strange birds, he slashed away with his sword. Nonviolent non-cooperation. Although I don't know how to dodge depending on the weather, I can cut through with my sword and forcefully open a path. This was Yuan's choice, which shocked Enelu. What did you think of Navigator? Is the role of the Navigator no longer available to you? My heart rants crazily. The golden spaceship sailed directly into the Bay of Malinfando. When the huge spaceship fell, the navy in Malinfando was speechless in surprise. Before they landed, they thought the Golden Lion was coming again. Fortunately, the Warring States period stopped it in time. When the spaceship entered the harbor, the figures of Warring States, Garp, and Zifa had already appeared. At the same time, a group of masters from Marine Fandun also appeared one after another. Enelu followed Yuan, not daring to say a word. His inner network told him that the 3 old men standing in front of him were 3 mountains that could not be crossed. Their bodies contain terrifying power that can erupt like a volcano at any time. It's really worth a year's worth of military expenditures for the Navy. Life is going to be great in the coming year. Sengoku was in a good mood and he was very happy. Garp laughed loudly, Zifa showed a satisfied smile. Look, this is the disciple he taught, very good. Let's see who dares to say that my disciple is not loyal to the Navy in the future. You are awesome and you can build a golden spaceship too. Enelu following Yan aroused everyone's curiosity. Who is this big-eared thief? The ears are so long. The thing on the back is also very strange. He is also holding a golden scepter in his hand. Is this showing off his wealth? And his expression is so arrogant, I really want to beat him up. Before Enelu could speak, a group of people remembered him from his appearance, and some secretly wanted to give him a slap. Boy Yan, who is this guy behind you who makes people want to beat him up just by looking at him? Can I hit him? Garp laughed loudly and said unscrupulously. Yan Rubbit, look at Garp, this old man seems to have very strong training ability. Enel, who missed the best period of development, should be taught by Garp. Oh, his name is Enelu. He is the god of the original Sky Island. He built this golden spaceship. Then I met him by chance when I went to the Sky Island to investigate. The two of us chatted, and he immediately understood the Navy. We are so great that we decided to hand over the golden spaceship as tuition and military expenses to support our just cause. Enelu was shocked. It was the first time he saw someone telling lies like this. He originally wanted to drive the spaceship to the infinite continent, but you suddenly appeared, beat me up without saying a word, robbed the spaceship, and cut off the empty island. How come it has become my voluntary decision now? Do you want face? The onlookers' Navy looked at Enelu with pity. If it wasn't for a brain disease, he would most likely have been beaten. Many geniuses in their Navy were severely beaten before joining the Navy. Therefore, many Navy colleagues speculated that Enelu was beaten and then let it go. Very good, very good. Warring States looked at Enelu. Except for his temperament, which was not very good, like a ruffian, the rest was okay. Leave it to Zifa to practice. As soon as Warring States made his decision, Yan continued. He is also a user with the ability of the Thunder Fruit. He can cover the entire Malinvondo with his aura of power. The fruit has been developed to the point where it can emit -million volts. One person can supply the electricity of an entire Malinvondo. Sengoku's eyes lit up instantly. Garp, I leave it to you to teach me. You are the best person to teach an older guy like this in the natural system. Sengoku blurted out. Zifa frowned, looking down on him. Garp grinned and rubbed his fists. His favorite thing was to beat the children who disobeyed. Warring States arranged for people to deal with the golden spaceship and signaled Yan to follow him. Chapter 28 The conspiracy gradually arises. Facing the arrangement of the Warring States period, the rest of the Navy next to them patted Enelu on the shoulder with pity and turned to leave. Zifa finally walked up to Enelu, looked at him calmly, patted his shoulder, and said deeply, no matter what the reason is, since you joined the Navy and paid a high tuition fee, then work hard, earn back the tuition fee. Enelu looked confused and couldn't understand this sudden pity at all. After the rest of the people left, Garp laughed loudly and stepped forward, looked at Enelu carefully, and showed a satisfied smile. Although he was a little older, his strength was still good. As soon as Enelu recovered from the daze, he was punched in the stomach. The huge force was completely integrated into Enelu's body. He opened his mouth. There was no sound, only a silent cry. Enelu slowly knelt down. Down. Ha 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 ha, I'm afraid you won't respect me and don't know how strong I am, so I'll let you feel it in advance. Garp said that such people are 100% ignorant of the sky and the earth, and it is very important to establish their position first. Sad tears shed from the corners of Enelu's eyes. No, I know how strong you are. My heart network tells me that you are like a mountain, strong enough to stop anyone. I don't want to be arrogant. Yan followed Zhangguo and walked towards the office. The words "justice to rule the world" were hung on the wall. Yan had different feelings every time he saw them. This is the ambition of the Warring States period. He is indeed a man recognized as a domineering man in the Navy. When you become a general, you will be qualified to write your own justice on the wall. The Warring States period glasses reflected light, full of wisdom in a calm way. Yan grinned and sat on the sofa. Then I can say one thing, 3 years from now, Joker, Spang Dine, Long, if you don't let me go back, I will become a Navy Marshal. Warring States was choked and said that he really didn't know how to answer the question, but he smiled and said, well, that's right. It has been 6 years since you joined the Navy. It's okay to say 3 years and 3 years later. However, Sengoku couldn't help but want to laugh, and he didn't know what Spangdine and Doflamingo were thinking at that time. It is estimated that except for the monster dragon, the other two would be unable to sleep at night. Even if Yan only became a general, they would probably all have sleepless nights. It's fun to think about it, and warring states makes me laugh. I guess when you are crowned general, Spangdine and Doflamingo will be thinking about how to contact you. Crane smiled from behind. Yan quickly stood up and made room for he. He must respect the old man. He handed a document to Sengoku. Is the information confirmed? He sat on the chair, rested his chin on his hands, and sighed. Confirmed. That guy King Ghana just wants to use our hands to completely eliminate the kingdom of Layton. Yan was confused, what was going on? Sengoku glanced at him. It has been a week since Yan went to Sky Island and came back, so things in the kingdom of Ghana are naturally unclear. Sighing, if Yan hadn't brought back the golden spaceship, he would definitely have given vent to his attitude towards the mission. However, Senguo felt very happy when he thought of the golden spaceship outside. He glanced at Sengoku and knew it was time to explain himself. 3 days ago, a large number of pirates gathered to form a coalition to attack the kingdom of Ghana from the coastal areas, and King Layton also formally organized an army of 50 to prepare for a life-and-death battle. Now your subordinates Catherine and Mahler are leading the 10 Commandments detachment and Shi Ping's local garrison to fight against the pirate fleet off the coast of the Kingdom of Ghana. The King of Ghana personally raised 20 troops to build a defensive force on the other side and fight a tough battle with King Layton. It looks like he wants to drag King Layton to death. His last sentence was a bit exclamatory. Theoretically, their navy cannot participate in the battle between countries. This is the job of the CP. But King Ghana was so smart that he plotted against King Layton. He dragged the navy in alive and forced the navy to send troops to suppress him in order to end it. Yan was not very happy, he didn't like being plotted against. What's the plan of the two of you? What do you need me to do? Raising his eyebrows, Yan didn't believe that the two old Yunbai in front of him would be willing to be plotted against. Sengoku and Hezuru smiled. We sent new soldiers there to train, and let Kizuru hold down the battle. We need you to contact that guy Darag and let his revolutionary army provoke a revolution in the kingdom of Layton. What he said was a bit rebellious. Yan felt that if he recorded this sentence and gave it to Spangdine, Spangdine would definitely take down the warring states period. And Aokiji and Akainu would compete for the position in advance. But in this case, our navy will not get any benefits except training new recruits. This deal is not worth it. Warring States pushes up his glasses. Great value. The revolutionary army takes over the kingdom of Layton, and the king of Ghana will not be able to swallow it up by force. By then, whether that country becomes independent or joins the world government, our navy's newly established base on Fairman Island will not have to worry about being swallowed up by the local country. Shi Ping's incident is a lesson. What is meant is that those who do not plan for eternity cannot plan for a moment. The performance of the Warring States period is fully demonstrated. Yan expressed his conviction. Awesome. The boss is awesome. He took out his phone on the spot and started to contact Dalag. On the seaside of the Kingdom of Ghana, Darag stood in the wind, watching the war on the coast. Shi Ping and Catherine led the team to engage in close combat with the pirates. The musketry team led by Gino and the artillery team led by a lame old man were providing support from a distance. The war was very fierce and the fighting was very brutal. Catherine transformed into a white tiger state, the ice blade in her hand flying freely, and her ice breath roared. Shi Ping also showed his fighting prowess. He was able to apply the 6 movements freely and became a school of his own. Although he was not domineering, his combat prowess was still strong, and he could use one against many. The Navy's heritage is still terrifying. Dalag sighed. He watched many Navy recruits grow up in many days of battle. The threat of death made those sailors grow up rapidly, and they quickly learned the 6 naval styles that they could not learn. Especially some guys who look like they have just come out of the boot camp. They are physically fit enough to learn skills that they could never learn before, and they quickly learn them under the threat of death. Darag responded through the wind and looked at a certain location in the naval barracks. Kizuru, who was sitting in the military camp and cutting his nails, raised his head, thoughtfully. Stolberg, who was sitting on the other side of the room, was a little confused when he saw Kizuru suddenly raise his head. Let the colonel's team you brought help control the intensity of the war. Let the medical team deal with the injuries of the wounded. If you need any medicine, ask the King of Ghana. Kizaru said frivolously. Stolberg nodded and walked out. 16 middle-aged Marines stood outside the camp, seeing Stolberg, waiting for instructions. Go, the pirates are going crazy, go and stop them and protect our newcomers. 16 middle-aged Marines smiled. They were all recruited temporarily, and the mission finally began. Chapter 29 I shouted long live the Revolutionary Army at the Navy headquarters. Die Navy! The maniacally laughing pirate swung his mace at the recruit. The madness in his eyes was self-evident, and he was finally going to kill the recruit. The sound of gold and iron clashing sounded, and the expected scene of smashing the Navy's head with a stick did not appear. The middle-aged Navy glanced at the still panicking recruits and shouted angrily, "If you are injured, retreat quickly." Pointing to the gun. He holds the knife in his right hand to block the pirate's mace. And activates the finger gun in his left hand, taking away the pirate's life with one blow. Similar scenes kept appearing on the battlefield. On the pirate fleet, the pirate captains looked extremely ugly. It's this scene again, it's this scene again, the Navy is training. The leader of the pirate fleet, the cruel Dr. Kurd, clenched his fists, and the other pirate captains next to him were also angry. Drago shook his head. Having already sensed Kizaru's location, he could only say one thing to the pirates: in the face of absolute strength, everything is in vain. Bulo bulo bulo, the phone bug rang. Darag frowned, who was calling him at this time. After picking up the phone, Yan's voice sounded, making Darag frown deeper. Chief, a mission has come. There is a country where the poor people need your rescue. It begins with a familiar statement. Warring States and his brows were beating wildly. What were they talking about? Darag said that he had long been used to it, and sighed, speak in human terms. Yan made a heartbroken expression, and his voice was full of compassion. The evil kingdom of Ghana, a member country of the world government, plotted against the righteous and iron-blooded kingdom of Leighton. Under the calculation of the king of Ghana, King Leighton conscripted 55 troops to attack the king of Ghana regardless of the life and death of the people. King Ghana is going to use cruel delaying tactics to drag King Leighton to death, so that King Leighton will have to continue to exploit the people of the kingdom of Leighton for the sake of the war. I suggest that our revolutionary army should enter the Leighton kingdom, inspire the people there to carry out revolution, overthrow the cruel King Leighton, and then establish a new policy to smash the evil plan of the king of Ghana to annex the poor and weak Leighton kingdom. The words evil, cruelty, exploitation and so on in the sentence made Darag frown and want to slap Yan. Well, I see. The faint words made Warring States and he on the other side of the phone frown. This guy is so thoughtful. I am here in the kingdom of Ghana and the kingdom of Leighton. I have asked Betty to encourage the people of the kingdom of Leighton. The appearance of this sentence made Warring States and he breathe a sigh of relief, as long as the revolutionary army entered the scene. But why aren't you here? I saw your fleet. Darag asked the fatal question. Yan went back casually, oh, I went to Sky Island to investigate the legend of the Golden Land. I built a golden spaceship and came back. I also found a historical text. I am going to hand the historical text to the world government. I'll give you the enlarged copy. Darag hummed, very satisfied. Why not drive the golden spaceship back to the Revolutionary Army base? Another fatal question. Warring States and he tried their best to show their colors, indicating not to answer this easily and not to expose yourself. Yan didn't look at the two of them at all, and said carelessly, because only the evil navy, who are greedy for money and profits and obsessed with power, do this. We, the great, hard-working revolutionary soldiers who fight for the lives of the people of the world, don't he would care about a mere golden spaceship. Do you care, leader? With a rhetorical question, Darag shed a tear of sadness. I don't care. Do you know how short of money our revolutionary army is? Do you know how many revolutionary soldiers betrayed the revolution because of lack of money? Darag held back his heartache and said, yes, so the evil navy is destined to collapse because of corruption, and we are destined to rise because of our hard-working spirit. The phone bug simulated Yan's expression of approval so vividly that Darag thought that Yan was a staunch revolutionary soldier. Long live the revolutionary army! Long live the spirit of hard work! Yan suddenly made a voice, which startled Warring States, he and Dalag. Dalag pretended to be calm and replied again. No way, it sounds like the slogan of their revolutionary army. Yan secretly glanced at Warring States and he was happy, he felt happy, and he felt so good. This life is so wonderful. As a member of the revolutionary army, I shouted, "Long live the Revolutionary Army!" in front of the Navy Marshal at the Navy headquarters. Is there any more exciting life than this? Not anymore. My life is so exciting. Warring States thought for a moment and ignored Yuan. He didn't think there was anything wrong with Yuan. Or did he say that, which force would be better off with the welfare benefits of their navy? And no matter which force reaches the top in the future, it will not replace the navy. At most, it will replace some of its people, but it will not abolish the navy. They are a righteous army and the overlord of the navy. Arvan. Exist. You go undercover in the Leighton Kingdom Revolutionary Army. Damn it, boss, what are you talking about? Yuan was stunned. What is this ghost? What does this mean? Warring States said softly, after the Revolutionary Army rises in the Leighton Kingdom, they will definitely overthrow the existing ones and establish a new king. I think that since a new king is going to be established, can this new king be elected by us? Amazing idea. However, this idea is really awesome. Yuan swore that at this moment, he felt that Senguo was a genius. He nodded in agreement, this method is very good. As long as we control the frequency of battles between the pirates and navy of the Kingdom of Ghana, we can Ghana from time to time, and continue to prolong the war between the two countries. This will give you enough time to choose a new king in the Kingdom of Leighton and stage an uprising. And we can also provide weapons for the uprising. As long as the Revolutionary Army can afford it, it won't be a problem to sell them the second-hand weapons that our navy has eliminated. The Crane's eyes gleamed, this world was so wonderful. As for selling weapons to the Revolutionary Army, will it affect the status of their navy? That's totally not the case. Anyway, the only way to deal with the Revolutionary Army is with their navy. I remember our navy still has a few trumpets in the underground world. Sell it in their name. Warring States said softly. Yuan didn't want to take on this task. After accepting this mission, he had to temporarily serve as an undercover agent sent by the navy to the Revolutionary Army. When he thought of the hard life of the Revolutionary Army, Yuan was heartbroken. The Revolutionary Army was so poor that they all lived in poverty. Yuan doesn't like to eat dirt, he likes red wine with steak, and likes a life accompanied by beautiful women. Unfortunately, he could not resist the order from the Warring States period. As soon as Yuan left, Sengoku said to He, arrange for Drake to join the pirate coalition and let him be the internal response to control the intensity of the pirates. Crane agrees, no problem. This can have. Chapter 30 The righteousness is awe-inspiring. The weather on the Grand Line is unpredictable, and every piece of land that can be cultivated is very important. Yuan stood in mid-air, looking at the grown crops, but only some old people and children were harvesting them. From the small to the large, you can know the level of the Leighton Kingdom here. Think about the Kingdom of Ghana that we just passed by, where various machines have been used to harvest. It can be said to be two worlds. A feudal primitive society and a mechanized one can be said to be two extremes. World government. Yuan didn't know how to evaluate it. No matter how he was judged, he still had to complete the Navy's mission. In the town, Betty is holding her own flag and inspiring the people of Leighton Kingdom. The flag was flying, and as the encouragement fruit ability was activated, people throughout the town were responding. However, Yuan still felt something was wrong. This kind of behavior that relies on fruitful abilities is really rubbish. This kind of behavior is more like a pirate than a revolutionary. Looking at Betty's figure, this woman must have gotten to the top by sleeping with Durag. Yuan couldn't help but make malicious guesses. Such an incompetent guy will suffer retribution sooner or later. The sword flashed, and the flag in Betty's hand was cut off. A shocking and domineering force appeared, causing the people who had already risen to quiet down. Yuan smiled, interesting. There was a sound of armor ringing, and a young man wearing armor and holding a double-edged sword came from the other side of the road in the town. The whole person was like a sharp sword, completely destroying the atmosphere that Betty had mobilized. Seeing the young man, some people came forward excitedly. Princeka, His Highness the Prince. His Royal Highness is back, we are saved. Great, we are saved. As long as the prince is here, the king will not tax us. The people were cheering. Yaki signaled the people to be quiet and walk straight towards Betty. Betty, who had just broken the encouraging atmosphere, was in an extremely bad mood at this time. Princeka looked at Betty, Revolutionary Army. Betty nodded. Take me to the person in charge here, I need to talk. Aka said calmly. Yuan looked at the two of them in mid-air. Interestingly, is this the savior appearing? Thinking about the overbearing look just now, it seems that he is not an ignorant guy. As for overlord color, after all, it is only something that is better than a bad street or a bad street. Anyone with some knowledge will know. Betty frowned, not wanting to agree. Okay, no problem, I'll take you there. Yuan fell from midair and said with a smile. Yaki put his hand on the handle of the knife, ready to attack at any time. The sudden stranger made him uneasy. Betty clicked her tongue disdainfully, she knew Yuan. Who are you? Yaka felt the disgusting dark power in Yuan and asked while holding back his nausea. He's your relative. Damn it, I want to chop you. Yaki almost drew his sword and chopped it down. Look, your name is Yaki, and my name is Yuan. We both have Ya in our names. We might have been a family 500 years ago. It's okay to call your relatives. Yuan had a silly smile on his face, looking like a big fool. Yaki turned around and left, not wanting to talk. Yuan had a question mark on his face, this guy is so rude. Aren't you going to see our boss? Yaki didn't even look back, if the revolutionary army is full of idiots like you, then I refuse to cooperate with you. I don't like working with idiots. Ruthless words. Betty followed Ika in 3 steps and then 2 steps, saying that she admired his outspokenness, so she took Ika to see her leader. Yuan is messy in the wind. Is this a world where I am the only one who gets hurt? The revolutionary army's base in the Leighton Kingdom is small, dilapidated, and very poor. There was not even a bottle of wine to entertain the guests. Sorry, we don't allow alcohol during working hours. Durag handed over a bowl of water with an apologetic look. Yes, it's just a bowl, not even a cup, and the bowl has a chip. Regarding this poor base, Yuan said that he really didn't know where to complain. Yaka looked at Yuan who was sitting there, looking at the various expressions of broken bowl, and the sadness in his eyes never dissipated. Is that idiot really a cadre of your revolutionary army? Durag sighed at the embarrassing Yuan. He had already heard what Yuan said from Betty. He was helpless, but he couldn't deny it. What if it hurt people's hearts? Although he's a bit of an idiot, he can fight very well. Durag was helpless. Yaka sighed, I hope your revolutionary army can make me king. As soon as these words came out, Yuan became excited. He was not sleepy for a moment. He wanted to end this mission quickly. He wanted to return to the Navy headquarters as soon as possible. There were all kinds of delicious food, drinks, fun things, and beautiful girls there. The beauties in the Navy headquarters are of good quality, and according to the development of the plot, it won't be long before the war begins, and you can see the most beautiful woman in the world, Bo Yahan, who can play with her legs and hips, and has various series of games. Cook. Of course, the only pity is that Hancock does not wear black stockings, which makes Yuan very uncomfortable. Even if you are white and long, you still have to wear black stockings. If it's too cold, what if you get cold legs in the future? You'll still be the one to suffer. Durag frowned and did not agree immediately. Why? You are a prince to begin with, but after your father dies, won't you be able to become the king? Durag didn't understand why this Gayaka was in a hurry. Yaki looked at the deserted town outside through the broken window, and said in a hoarse voice, because of my father's cruelty, the kingdom of Leighton is about to be unable to hold on. If I cannot overthrow his rule, I will end the war as soon as possible. When the war really breaks out in the Leighton Kingdom, as long as the kingdom of Ghana defeats my father, it can use disaster relief and money to peacefully take over the entire Leighton Kingdom. This was something he didn't want to see as a prince. And once war breaks out in the Leighton Kingdom, there will be heavy casualties. Durag pondered. Okay, we are willing to support you. In order to prevent the kingdom of Leighton from falling into civil strife, and in order to prevent the evil kingdom of Ghana from profiting, we must also stop it. This is the mission of our revolutionary army. Yuan slapped the table and said righteously. Let's end it as soon as possible. He wanted to return to the Navy headquarters as soon as possible. The revolutionary army was really uncomfortable staying in this broken base. There are no beautiful women, no fine wines and delicacies. So unhappy. Betty looked at Arvin, this idiot, with the look of a fool. Durag said that he really shouldn't let Yuan come back. This guy is suitable for acting alone. And Akak was excited. This idiot, oh no, he is a genius. He is really smart. He knew the benefits of helping me at a glance. Chief, you don't have time to hesitate. Look at the crop fields. The harvest time is about to pass. The people of the Lighten Kingdom are frantically harvesting, but they still can't finish the harvest because there are no strong laborers. We need to end the war as soon as possible and let the 50 troops on the front line go home as soon as possible so that they can harvest crops to maintain the operation of this country. Otherwise, the people of this country will suffer man-made disasters next year because there is not enough food. Yan said it righteously and found a very good reason. At least act next to me feels very good. Chapter 31. Durag frowned. Does this mean that he can't delay? So chief, we are fighting for the common people. If the soldiers of the Lighten Kingdom cannot be returned to the fields as soon as possible, then in less than half a year, the Lighten Kingdom will be at war due to food shortages, and those people who cannot survive will most likely go to sea to harm one side. After the collapse of the Lighten Kingdom, King Ghana only needs to bring a large amount of food and supplies here, and he can take over the Lighten Kingdom without any trouble and gain a good reputation. Yan explained the stakes clearly and spoke with facts. Fundamentally speaking, he does not like the so-called reasons for revolution for freedom by Durag and others. The biggest personnel thing the world government has done is probably the establishment of a navy and the establishment of the world government itself. Those participating countries can generally live a good life as long as they don't meet a particularly useless and cruel king. Okay, I support you, what do you need to do? After listening to Yan's words, Durag decided to help Yaki. Axe smiled. I need your power to force the Kingdom of Ghana to stop the war after I assassinate my father. Then, I will find a way to join the world government's participating countries and let the world government mediate, so as to give the people a chance to survive. Damn it, you're using us like guns. Durag's face instantly turned completely dark. Betty glared at the other person. You have such a big face, why do you say such things? Do you know that you are talking about surrendering to the world government in front of our revolutionary army? Then why don't you go directly to the CP? Betty didn't take it easy at all and directly retorted. Yaka smiled sheepishly, isn't this the slogan of your revolutionary army who wants face, reputation, and strives for the people to live a good life? I feel that cooperation with you is guaranteed. It's okay if I don't explain it, but it's even worse if I explain it. To put it bluntly, they are taking advantage of the revolutionary army. Durag fell silent. He stopped Betty from continuing to speak and said slowly, okay, I will help you. What are you going to do? Yan sat aside and watched this scene quietly. Durag, there is something wrong with your revolutionary thinking. Yaki smiled. He liked to be friends with the revolutionary army because these people were very easy to exploit. At the battle site between the Kingdom of Lighten and the Kingdom of Ghana, King Lighten looked at the opposite side with an angry face. There is a short connection point on the islands where the two countries are located. This is a road 2,000 meters long and 500 meters wide. The King of Ghana was extremely stupid and built a strong defense line along the coast to block King Lighten's attack. At the link of the Kingdom of Ghana, King Ghana led people to build a city here. At this time, he stood on the city wall and stared at King Lighten proudly. Idiot who only knows how to use force. As long as the harvest season is over, your poor Lighten Kingdom will definitely be doomed. When the time comes when there is no money to buy food, the army cannot hold on, and there is no way to recruit from the rear, that will be the time when your Lighten Kingdom will be destroyed. The King of Ghana was very excited. 400 years of grudges are about to end in their own hands. When the time comes to swallow up the Lighten Kingdom, he can find a way to infiltrate Fairman Island and regain the power of the empire back then. With a transportation artery like Fairman Island in their hands and a huge empire on their back, their economy and military will take off and they will become a superpower among the countries that join the world government. When the time comes, if we train a few strong men who are loyal to the royal family, their Kingdom of Ghana may not be able to become the overlord on the sea. It's beautiful when you think about it. Then, the dream of the King of Ghana was gradually shattered as soon as it started. A gunshot came out of nowhere and took the life of King Lighten. King Lighten stared blankly at the other side, his biological son. Why? Are you patricide? With a calm expression on his face, Yaka ignored the generals rushing up around him and shot King Lighten in the chest again. 2 consecutive shots took away King Lighten's life. I'm bringing order out of chaos. Act whispered this time. Throw away the pistol and grab the hilt of the sword. Sword dance, Yuan Hua. A beautiful sword light flew up in its prototype, instantly slashing away the generals of the Lighten Kingdom who were rushing around. This time, Yaki slowly walked towards Princess Lighten who was standing aside, looking at her beautiful face, showing a cruel smile. Can you tell me your identity? The woman who suddenly appeared and bewitched my father. Arthur always remembered that although his father was warlike, he was brave and resourceful. Although his father was cruel, he would not exploit people. But since this woman appeared, everything has changed. She gave her father a series of strategies for drinking poison to quench his thirst. She tempted her father to enjoy all kinds of ultimate life in the world. Those lives come from the hard work of the people at the bottom. This is all the fault of this woman, she must be killed. The beautiful Princess Layton showed a sweet smile. I come from the kingdom of Ghana. I am a dead soldier raised by the king of Ghana. I have only one mission. To bewitch King Layton and induce the destruction of the Layton kingdom. But how could it be possible for the king of a kingdom to degenerate so quickly just by simply bewitching him? Yan didn't know when he appeared in the room and asked bluntly. Princess Layton didn't mean to hide it, and replied bluntly, I ate the Superman emotion fruit, and I can amplify a person's inner desires. You can also stir up someone's desire. Awesome fruit. But the way you use it is so embarrassing. Especially your own abilities are even more embarrassing. Yan complained in his heart. He still remembered that before he had traveled through time, he had seen a fan novel describing this fruit. That pig's foot could punch the Yonko, kick the Shishibukai, and destroy the existence of the world government. Aka accelerated, and the sword in his hand pierced Princess Layton's body. At this point, all the top leaders of the Layton kingdom collapsed. Aka walked out of the military camp and faced the soldiers coming from all directions. He smiled and raised his sword. The princess who bewitched the king was brutally killed by our king after I saw through the plan. But the princess has been terminated and officially ascended the throne as the king. I declare that the war is over. The soldiers cheered. At this point, a legend began to circulate in the kingdom of Layton. The reincarnated princess of the Vixen tempted King Layton to start a war and commit evil acts, which made the people of the Layton kingdom miserable. Fortunately, the prince at that time returned from traveling, saw through the princess's conspiracy, and killed the evil princess, so that the country finally set things right and got back on track. Thank you, Princeka. The king of Ghana was extremely angry when he saw that the kingdom of Layton had withdrawn its troops. Why is that? Before he could ask the question, soldiers from the kingdom of Ghana came to report Inika gave him a gift. The huge gift was packed in a box, but the king of Ghana did not understand. When he opened it, the stench that hit his face made him almost faint. A body that began to rot was placed inside, and King Ghana vaguely recognized it as his dead soldier, Princess Layton. Send troops to pursue the Layton kingdom and invade it. The king of Ghana sternly said, the reason is to avenge my soldiers from the kingdom of Ghana who died in the battle. Chapter 32 End. The crazy king of Ghana is very scary, and the army of the kingdom of Ghana with strong fighting spirit is also very scary. Facing the terrifying Ghanaian army, Ak did not panic at all. On the narrow passage, the army of the kingdom of Ghana marched in neat steps, holding firearms in their hands and knives on their waists, and marched solemnly. In the center of the army, artillery pieces were being carried forward. In the sea on both sides of the road, ships came from the kingdom of Ghana one after another, and each ship was equipped with an artillery piece. He seemed to have an attitude of never letting go. Aka walked at the end of the retreating Layton kingdom army. Looking at the swarms of fleets and the swarming troops, a smile appeared on his lips. Darag came up in the air, looked at the calm sky, sighed softly, and told himself in his heart that all this was for the people of Layton kingdom, so that they could complete the harvest season. He has no other thoughts but for the people to live a better life. Stretching his hands flat and clenching his fists, the hurricane began to gather in the sky, the dark clouds began to gather, and the winds condensed in one place. Soon, a vortex of clouds hanging upside down in midair began to appear. Thunder is beating inside, and terrifying energy is gathering. Dragon's Nest. Dalag looked at the direction in which the kingdom of Ghana's army was heading, waved his hand fiercely, and a terrifying breath spewed out from the huge whirlpool towards the kingdom of Ghana's army. The king of Ghana, who stood in the middle of the army, shrank his pupils when faced with the natural disaster-like attack. He couldn't believe that this could be done by humans. Yawn sighed. Darag was crazy, he actually used such a terrifying attack. With his black wings spread, Yawn appeared in front of the kingdom of Ghana army. He waved the dagger at his waist fiercely and slashed to block the huge air cannon. However, the aftermath disrupted the formation of the kingdom of Ghana fleet and cut off a line that had existed for thousands of years. Narrow road. Sea water rushes into the broken gap to fill the void. Yawn looked at Dalag in mid-air, shook his head, and signaled that it was over. King Ghana clenched his fists and stared at Darag. This bastard must be the guy who ruined his plan. Damn it! Yan slowly landed next to King Ghana and shrugged. King Ghana put on an ugly smile. He was only grateful for Yan's appearance. Looking at the scattered fleets next to him, the King of Ghana understood that if Yan had not appeared in time, the military strength accumulated by the Kingdom of Ghana over the past century would have been destroyed. I don't know why, but since that guy is here, I suggest withdrawing our troops. Yan shrugged and said helplessly. The King of Ghana gave the order to withdraw his troops with a gloomy face. At this moment, personal force brought him a deep shock. In the past, he had always thought that no matter how strong his personal force was, it was just the icing on the cake. Darag looked at his hands with a confused look on his face. When did he become so manic? Akka looked at the passage that was disconnected by the aftermath, showing an excited expression. Is this the strength of the world government's most wanted criminal? I don't know what the legendary naval admiral's combat prowess is. After all, no matter how strong the revolutionary army is, it cannot be stronger than the navy. There are marshals, 3 generals, and 5 heroes in the navy. Do you know who that guy is? King Ghana pointed at Darag and asked Yan, the hatred in his eyes undisguised. The leader of the revolutionary army, Long. King Ghana clenched his fists and said with a ferocious expression. I remember him. I will definitely vote for him at the next World Conference and send him to heaven. The most evil villain in the world, you have offended me and offended me terribly. Yan shrugged, and if there was anything he could do, he would leave it to the boss. There was nothing wrong with him. The boss. Just to take the blame. The Kingdom of Ghana is so rich and the people live so happily. His revolutionary army should have no place to survive in the Kingdom of Ghana, right? How did you become enemies? Yan had a gossipy face, as if he was very interested in these things. With a cold snort. The King of Ghana said disdainfully, my Kingdom of Ghana is rich and powerful, and the people are prosperous. Of course, there is no place for those rats to live. But there is one in the Leyden Kingdom. His revolutionary army delayed my annexation of the Leyden Kingdom. Shrugging, Yan expressed his helplessness. There is no way. The revolutionary army is just a troublemaker. Where can we find it? Where can we stir up trouble? Yan felt that his evaluation was spot on. The King of Ghana couldn't help but glared at him fiercely, what are you talking about? Do you know that the salary of your navy is paid by the world government, and the money of the world government is provided by us, the franchised countries, and we, the franchised countries, belong to you. Donator Dad, believe it or not, when Dad gets angry, he will cut your military spending. Waving his hands, Yan yawned, indicating that he was going to support his subordinates. On the coast, the pirates' attacks became more and more sharp, forcing Stolberg to take action. The pirate captains took action one after another, showing a terrifying offensive. Kill, the naval dog is here, proving that the Golden Land is real. Come on, kill the navy and capture the Golden Land, then we can retire. Don't be afraid. We are a group of more than a dozen pirates. It's no problem to fight 5 detachments. The pirates charged in as densely as ants, shouting strange slogans of desire. Catherine took a deep breath, clenched the skate in her hand, and faced the attack with fierce eyes. Stolberg was surrounded by 3 pirate captains and started a fierce fight. 16 naval captains were also among the crowd, not waiting. After more than 10 days of fighting, the navy and pirates who were still alive were all elites, and there was no chance of them being left alive. In the camp, Kizaru felt Dalag's aura, sighed, and stood up. It's terrible, Dalag and Yan both fought. Then it should end here. Kizaru's body turned into light and appeared on the battlefield. Cross your hands across your chest. Hey, it's really scary, a dozen pirate groups united together. When the pirates below heard the frivolous voice, they raised their heads and looked at the yellow figure in the air with a horrified expression. Not every pirate group is called Straw Hat, and they don't know the existence of the Admiral. 8-foot Kyangu Jade. Before the pirates could react, they were hit by standard and precise light bullets. The body kept retreating, and there were more and more burn marks on the body. Even some weak pirates were directly penetrated by light bombs and perished. The navy was cheering and the pirates were panicking. Stolberg sheathed his sword and watched calmly as the pirates fell. Whether they were captains or ordinary pirates, they all fell under the accurately aimed 8-foot Megatama. Before Catherine could react, the light bullet rushed out from beside her and bounced away from her opponent. Gino put away his gun and looked unhappy. The lame veteran came over and patted him on the shoulder. There was nothing he could do. The general took action and there was no need for anyone else to move. After all, the admiral is the representative of natural disasters. The pirate fleet, which had been entangled with the navy for more than 10 days, was defeated by Kizaru's 8-foot Megatama in 3 minutes. Yan, who came over, shrugged and said it was great. When Kizaru saw Yan arriving, he smiled and said hello. It's scary to be able to fight against the leader of the revolutionary army and still get away unscathed. The yin and yang look made Yan want to hit him. But when I thought of the old guy's terrifying fighting power, I suppressed my thoughts and thought, forget it, this guy is too scary, let's wait until 20 years later. When Catherine and Mahler saw Yan below, they both breathed a sigh of relief. The backbone was here. Yan used his knowledge to feel the domineering power in Catherine's body. Sure enough, war is the channel for people to grow quickly. Chapter 33 Molested. Yan, you bastard, do you know I'm being sued? It's all because of you bastard. In the early morning, as soon as I got up from bed, the phone rang, and a roar came from the other side. After picking his ears, Yan lay down on the bed and replied lazily, Sir Spangdine, you are being complained about, do you have anything to do with me? I'm on my way to Judiciary Island to switch defenses, and I haven't done anything. Marigio's Spandane was so angry that she was shaking all over, you bastard. Why doesn't it matter? If you go to the Golden Country, why don't you hand over the historical text to the government through me, but to the Navy? Also, you actually handed over such a big golden spaceship to the Navy. If you don't hand it over to the CP, have you completely surrendered to the Navy? Spangdine's roar resounded through the sky, and Yan plucked his ears again and replied in a smooth, lazy voice, our CP controls the happy street in the underground world, and we still care about the little money. Besides, I just returned to the headquarters. If I don't hand over some good things, how can that old Yinbai from the Warring States period believe me? Spangdine was stunned for a moment, then his body went cold and his face instantly darkened. How do you know that Happy Street is controlled by our CP? The entire CP department didn't know much about this nonsense, so how did he know about it? He probably didn't come into contact with it. Yan yawned and got up when he was too lazy. It's simple, Doflamingo told me. If something goes wrong, blame it on the boss. Anyway, he has many superiors. Spangdine breathed a sigh of relief, and understood what he said. It turned out to be Doflamingo. However, Spangdine's eyes were still extremely cold. That man knows too much. He needs to be killed. After the mission on Justice Island is over, you can find a way to kill Doflamingo. Spangdine's voice was extremely cold. Yan was shocked, what the hell is this? Why do this? When the time comes, I will ask CP, Stussy, to cooperate with you. Yan still doesn't understand, just because he said Doflamingo knows Stussy's identity? This is too cruel. Happy Street, is it so important? After Spangdine finished speaking, he hung up the phone and sat in his office, deep in thought. Doflamingo knows Stussy's identity. Do the other kings of the underworld know? Or does he only know that Happy Street is controlled by us? Didn't know Stussy was from the government. Headache. However, Spangdine's eyes flashed with cruelty. No matter which result it is, no matter what the reason is, you Doflamingo should die. Anyway, the 3 major balances after Crocodile have been shaken. In this case, let it be broken. It is also the CP's job to create trouble for the Navy. Yan didn't know Spangdine's thoughts, so he casually put on a coat and walked out of the cabin, leaned on the railing, looked at the calm sea, and his mood began to feel happy. The whole ship and the whole detachment are busy, or rather Mahler is busy, Catherine is exercising her abilities, Gino is cleaning his gun, and the lame veteran is hiding inside with a bottle to drink. Except for those who are on duty rotation and resting, the rest of the soldiers are exercising. After the battle in the Kingdom of Ghana, everyone became nervous and the training intensity increased. Mahler came over with a report and reported it. Well, what do you want to say? Does the increase in training also need to be reported? Training increases and everyone eats more, so logistical expenses need to increase, and new training equipment needs to be purchased. In addition, we also need to send people to give guidance in the training room. The half-smiling look put Yan in a bad mood. Hey, you don't want me to give you some advice? Catherine needs to develop her capabilities. She is a member of the training team. I need to coordinate the operation of the entire fleet and the docking of the headquarters. Gino and old Jiro both use guns and cannons. Their close quarters abilities are based on it is not applicable if it is formulated on its own. Yan had a terrible headache. As for logistics, I will think of a way to prepare the kitchen to handle large sea beasts. From now on, we will have meat for 3 meals a day. Yan said fiercely, while fiercely heading towards the training room. Mahler shrugged, smiling happily. In the detachment training room, more than 24 naval soldiers were undergoing weight-bearing training. The training methods they follow are also Yan's philosophy. The body is the capital of revolution. Only when the body reaches the standard, pursuing other skills is the correct route. This is also the philosophy that Zifa has always believed in. Before swordsmanship reaches a certain level, as long as you are strong enough and fast enough, you will be strong. Otherwise, you have reached the highest level of swordsmanship, but as a result, your physical fitness is not good, and you are also a weakling, because you simply cannot swing enough slashes. Yan is a believer in this concept. It is precisely because of this concept that Yan has been moving smoothly. After setting a new training plan for the navy of the detachment, Yan walked to Catherine, who was studying the art of swordsmanship. He sat next to her and admired Catherine's figure. It was really nice. Catherine opened her eyes suddenly, and the ice blade instantly condensed in her hand, piercing Yan's body. A little bit of darkness emerged from Yan's body, the ice blade shattered with a sound, and Catherine curled her lips and clicked her tongue. "Can I charge you with murder, sir?" Jokes rang out. "Oh, I don't have any money anyway, so I'll compensate you myself. I'll sleep with you tonight." Catherine answered without hesitation. "Well, okay, I agree. I'll wait for you tonight for free." Damn it, so shameless. Catherine never expected that Yan would actually dare to answer the conversation. "Do you know what you are talking about?" "I know what you are talking about. Come on, come to my room tonight. And I will personally give you instructions on how to develop the fruit." Bang, a loud slap sounded. "Rogue." Catherine sighed, but her face turned red. "If you didn't like me, why did you go to the East China Sea with me 5 years ago? With your abilities and connections, Lieutenant General Jinhe's detachment would be great." Yan said quietly, "He is not a straight man, how could he not know that Catherine likes him? I couldn't give you a guarantee 5 years ago, but if I can give it 5 years later, I have to show my attitude." "Shameless. Come to my room tonight, and my sister will show you the way." Catherine heyed twice, showing a gangster face. The blush and shyness just now disappeared instantly, and the whole person became arrogant. But Yan saw right through her lack of confidence. "If you are confident enough, why are your ears still red? Could it be hot?" "No, I should be the one to give you everything and vent your anger, otherwise you will turn into a horrible toad covered in pimples sooner or later." Yan said that he would not be timid and would fight back directly. Catherine looked confused. "What do you mean?" Chapter 34 Silly Son. Catherine clenched her fists. "Be careful. If you can't explain clearly, I'll blow your head off. You ate the animal white tiger fruit and gained the ability to control air conditioning, so your body is covered with air conditioning, right?" Catherine nodded. "Well, so what? The air conditioning wraps around the whole body, and the fiery contamination in the heart cannot be dissipated. Over time, toxins accumulate, and small acne will appear. At this time, I naturally need to clear it up." Yan was ready to escape at any time. Catherine smiled, as if she didn't care. "The ice knife cuts off all descendants." An ice knife struck at Yan's lifeline. "You wanna die?" Yan disappeared in an instant, and the rest of the navy in the training room looked at Catherine in surprise. Why did the colonel suddenly get angry? Could it be that he is too angry and has eaten the fruit of the cold series, and cannot vent his anger, so he needs to find someone to vent his anger? But this has to be done by the Major General. After all, it is well known that Major General Yan and Colonel Catherine have a secret love for each other. To offend Colonel Catherine is to offend Major General Yavin. At night, when Catherine returned to the room to take a shower, a figure quietly walked in and lay down directly on the bed. As soon as Catherine walked out of the bathroom after washing and tidying up, she saw a familiar and attractive male figure lying on the bed, grinning stupidly. With a burst of laughter, Catherine rushed into the other person's arms. The power of darkness enveloped the entire room, preventing even a single sound from escaping. In the following time, Catherine's strength began to improve by leaps and bounds after receiving personal guidance from Yuan. In Yuan's words, Colonel Catherine's physique has changed after being nourished by him. You must know that among the 7 deadly sins, whether when she was an angel or when she was a member of the 10 Commandments, Esteros's physical strength potential was among the top and most terrifying. The warship swayed to Judiciary Island, Yuan took Catherine to see Spondam, and Mahler went to hand over the procedures with the garrison that was supposed to change defenses. Go through the Hall of Justice and through the suspension bridge to the CP9 dedicated building. When Spondam saw Yuan, his face was filled with pride, as if he was so awesome. Are you Yuan, the new admiral who changed defenses? Take a look at Spangdam with half of his face covered in a mask. He looks like a weakling. Although he was known to be weak in the original work, Yuan never expected that he would be so weak. In the huge room, apart from the desk used by Spondam, there are also several sofas for guests, and an elephant is resting there behind the gauze curtain next to it. With a click of his tongue, Yuan sat on the sofa minding his own business. I don't want to meddle in your business, and you don't want to meddle with me either. Let's both be safe, okay? Yuan's impatience was directly on his face, and he had no idea how that old Yinbai Spangdine gave birth to this waste. Could it be said that Spangdine was cuckolded? If this is true, it's a really sad story. As he thought about it, Yuan couldn't help laughing. Spondam was a little angry when he saw that Yuan didn't take him seriously at all. Gabra, Natsurai, Owl, give this guy some color. Spangdam gave the order regardless. 3 figures rushed in from outside at the same time, one of them transformed into a werewolf, and clawed at Yuan's head with 5 fingers. The ferocious look was not concealed at all. Then, discipline and loving kindness activate. 3 people lay on the ground unable to move. Don't you know that I have a passive skill, discipline, kindness? Yuan had a helpless smile on his face and looked at Spondam calmly. The sight of 3 of his men losing their fighting power in an instant made Spangdam's body tremble, and the fear in his heart continued to increase. The sleeping elephant next to him suddenly woke up, his trunk turned into a long knife, and rushed towards Yuan, but was kicked back to its original shape by Catherine. Yuan just looked at Spondam, looking forward to his next move. You can't touch me. I have the golden phone bug that General Aokiji gave me. If you touch me, you will offend General Aokiji. And my father is a high-ranking official in the world government. If you offend me, you can't get promoted. Spondam's legs were trembling, and he took out the golden phone bug from his arms with a threatening look, which made Yuan even more suspicious of Spondam's cheating. While working under Spangdine, he clearly felt the ruthlessness and resourcefulness of CP. That man was able to become a high-ranking official in the world government and talk and laugh with the warring states period not only by flattering him, but also by his strong political ability. With a sigh, Yuan turned and left. Spondam, come on, your father will be tricked to death sooner or later. Turn around and leave without stopping at all. This can be considered a handover. Gabra stared at Yuan with a look of fear. Although he knew that this man might not be the same when he was on Terra Island, this was too terrifying. Ah Baba, is this the loving Eiffel? Rear Admiral of the Navy Headquarters, animal type human fruit phantom beast species purgatory demon form. A being who cannot fight normally without good psychological preparation. The owl slowly got up, panting heavily, and said in fear. Natsurai and Gabra also slowly got up. As professional killers, after reflecting on their situation, they adjusted their psychology very quickly. Then why don't you just prepare yourself mentally and catch up with him and kill him? Spangdam was very dissatisfied. Gabra and Natsuki remained silent and adjusted themselves to be ready to deal with the various situations that followed. It's impossible. There is a way to hit you until you feel hatred and murderous intent. His strong body is designed to deal with these words. The owl smiled bitterly. There is really no way. If the opponent can become a rear admiral, he definitely has excellent physical strength. The most essential criterion for a naval admiral is hard power. Among those civilian lieutenant generals are Kong Ming and He. The former is covered in armor and the latter chases Doflamingo around the world. And it would be impossible for them to fight Yuan without showing a little murderous intent, a little resentment, and a little hatred from beginning to end. Spondam was rejected by his men and was in a bad mood. He asked the 3 of them to go down, took out the golden phone bug, looked at it carefully, and finally continued with helplessness. The biggest use of this thing is to carry out regional destruction after all. Rather than actually being able to order 5 lieutenant generals. Spangdam thought for a while and complained to his father. After listening to his son's narration, Spangdane was silent for a while and said helplessly. I think I should find a way to confirm the blood relationship between the two of us. Are you really my son? Why can you be so stupid? Eiffel Arvin, haven't you heard of his name? How dare you offend him? Spangdine said he didn't understand it at all. I remember when he met the three young generals, they were all respectful. You can play tricks behind your back, but you must not be arrogant in front of others. Because their personal force is too strong. It's not like he's too arrogant. Spangdam said aggrievedly. But he can fight. Next, you should treat Liu Qi with the same attitude towards him. If something big happens that is irreversible and you can't solve it, just stay by his side and he will find a way. He is your father. I paid a large sum of money to trade him here to protect you from the Pluto incident. Spangdine finally roared. Otherwise, he is afraid that his stupid son will not understand. This idiot's son. Chapter 35 Black Technology. Why did we come to see him? This guy is an idiot. In the Judiciary Island, Yuan and Catherine can be said to have unimpeded access. Except for Spangdam no one dares to deny face to them. Because his father is Spangdine, he has a relationship with the warring states marshal, he is also responsible for CP, and he is a high-ranking official in the world government. Who wants me to have a good father? Yuan shrugged and said indifferently. Catherine sighed, there was nothing we could do, we really had to come. Again, I have a good father. However, his position is almost unsteady. Yuan looked back at the huge judicial building and said meaningfully. Who would have thought that a lunatic would dare to attack the judicial building? Returning to the front island, Yuan found Mahler who had finished handing over. Rear Admiral, all handovers have been completed. Now you are the supreme leader of all the navy in Qiandao. Yuan responded casually and said. I just went to communicate with Chief Spangdam of CP9. Now CP9 is carrying out an extremely dangerous high-level mission involving the world government. During missions, all navies must maintain good operational status. Go down. Mahler showed a relaxed smile, came to the Navy station, and said seriously. CP9 is performing a high-risk mission. Let's play and have fun as you like. Pay attention to your own safety and don't run into the battlefield blindly. The Navy soldiers expressed their understanding. We, the Navy, are just scumbags of war. How can we delay the work of the great CP9 adults? In the following time, Yuan and Catherine walked around the Judiciary Island, reporting work to several big bosses from time to time. In the meantime, I also went to watch the prisoner's trial. In the end, I made a final evaluation. Compared with the Navy headquarters in Impel Down City, the entire Judiciary Island is really worthless. The high-end combat power of Impel City is much stronger than that of Judiciary Island. No wonder every time a particularly large prisoner is transported, he must be escorted by the Navy. With Judiciary Island's reserve combat power, it is estimated that any Shishibukai can capture it. When the Golden Lion was tried, this Judiciary Island was most likely the best time for him to escape. Yuan spent 3 days wandering around Judiciary Island and complained casually. This broken ground is so weak. It is estimated that if the Navy headquarters rebels against the world government one day, it will only need to send 2 lieutenant generals to wipe out the Judiciary Island. As for Impel Down City? Isn't that Poke wearing the same pants as the Navy headquarters? Magellan listened more to the Warring States period than to the world government. How about we take the sea train to the capital of 7 waters and have some fun? One day, Yuan, who was really bored, called Catherine. Is it okay? Catherine looked excited. It's so boring to stay on Judiciary Island every day. Training during the day, playing secretly with Yuan at night, occasionally leading a patrol to be on duty, and then handing over to the Navy who came to escort the prisoners. There is no other job. There is no war, no killing, no danger, no secrets, everything is so boring. Being in the Navy is no fun at all. Catherine said that staying here is just eating and waiting to die. And maybe because this place is so peaceful, everyone usually likes to talk about their official positions. Oh, except for the 2 giants at the door, they like to talk with their fists, and besides CP9, they have the highest strength value on the island. But they both like to sleep. The giants' hundreds of years of lifespan make them not attach much importance to life. Yuan also saw that Catherine had been too depressed recently and was demanding more and more from him at night, so he had no choice but to take her out to play. He had a conversation with Aoki a few days ago, and what he learned from the conversation was that the Straw Hats had just arrived in the capital of Seven Waters. In this case, very good, very good. That way there would probably be a few days left, and he could go to the capital of Seven Waters for a few days in the name of a joint. Before boarding the train, Yan gave his final explanation to Mahler and Gino, who were coming to see him off. Do you two know how to perform official duties on Judiciary Island? Mahler smiled. Of course. Inherit the fine traditions of our navy, catch all the fish, row the water with all our strength, and do our best to accomplish the task. After receiving a satisfactory answer, Yan boarded the sea train with confidence. Looking at the terrifying sea beasts that jumped out of the window from time to time and turned a blind eye to the sea train, Yan couldn't help but marvel at the power of Tom the Fishman. The world's best shipbuilder, a ruthless man who could build a sea train, was killed by that loser Spondam. It's ridiculous. Yan felt the magic of the sea train and said disdainfully. Spangdam simply has a good dad. Catherine, who was sitting opposite, felt that Yan's mood had deteriorated and gently held his hand, telling him not to worry. Yan shook his head and said there was nothing to worry about. Catherine, what do you think is the biggest difference between navy and pirates? Catherine shook her head, indicating that she didn't know. I'm just a little girl, why would I think about that? If I want to be in the navy, aren't you the one who brought me in? If it weren't for you, I would probably become the plaything of those nobles. You are my justice. Catherine said with a smile. Since becoming Yan's woman, her mood has gotten better and better. Yan smiled. That was the merit Doflamingo gave him when he entered the navy. Destroyed a pirate ship, but this pirate ship was controlled by a noble of a certain country. He robbed Doflamingo's business and was easily dealt with. He also met Catherine at that time, who was a beautiful female officer who was captured because of the war. After being rescued, he joined the navy with him. The unabashed love in Catherine's eyes made Arvin sigh, he was so happy. At least he doesn't have to worry about being cheated and giving birth to 250 offspring like Spangdine. The biggest difference between the navy and pirates is actually weapons. Yan sighed quietly. Catherine looked confused. Weapon, isn't it a high-end combat capability? Even if the navy needs more high-end combat power, because there are so many areas to take care of, the manpower cannot be allocated at all, and it is still slightly weak. But the navy's warships, cannons, and logistical support are far superior to those of pirates. This is where the navy is strongest. This is also the reason why the navy was able to suppress the great pirates in the era, which were like Crucian carps crossing the river. Catherine still didn't understand. If she did, she wouldn't just have the title of adjutant and let Mahler do all the work. Yan smiled. If Tom the Fishman is not killed, the best outcome would be to let him join the navy and completely control the sea train. Pity. Yan was helpless. Spangdine is an idiot. Sea train technology is a typical black technology. Chapter 36 Prepare to fish. After getting off the sea train and stepping onto a platform that seemed similar to what he remembered, Yan smiled. The biggest temptation for him in the city of Seven Waters is probably the train platform. Catherine and Yan were dressed in casual clothes, and they looked like rich kids traveling. No, it should look like a sloppy rich second generation and his little lover. Yan saw this meaning in the eyes of the people around him. An unshaven, listless beauty wearing a pair of tacky casual clothes, with exquisite makeup and good temperament. This is a proper operation for the rich second generation and their young lovers. Maid, another damn rich second generation. Someone cursed quietly. Hey, it's okay to take a look, we can't afford to offend you. The companion next to him advised him to leave quickly. Let's go to the tavern. Yan didn't care about other people's discussions, rented a bicycle with Catherine, and wandered towards Bruno's tavern. There was no one in the dark pub, so Yan ordered a few special dishes and a bottle of the most expensive wine. Tisk, these CPS are of good quality, they really look like lurking when they come out, and the wine they drink is so cheap. Sure enough, the most corrupt one is our navy. Thinking of those naval officers who eat and drink with public funds and drink millions of bottles of good wine while carrying out justice, Yan felt that he had made the right choice. Bruno glanced at Yan and continued to clean glasses at the bar without saying anything. It's like there's a cup that can't be wiped clean. After 4 dishes and 2 bottles of wine, Yan and Catherine sat there and started chatting until a blonde OL beauty walked in, and a man with a dove on his shoulders and a square nose walked in. When there were only 6 people left in the entire tavern, Yuan put down the knife and fork in his hand. The four of them also sat on the table next to them, sitting there in a simple surrounding. The table knife in Catherine's hand faintly showed ice. Eiffel Yuan, I'm here to support your navy. Yuan calmly picked up the tablecloth and wiped his mouth. The kind Eiffel, Rear Admiral of the Navy Headquarters, studied under Zifa, and is indeed a reassuring responder. Khalifa pushed up her glasses and calmly revealed Yuan's identity. Liu Qi frowned. He didn't like the introduction of someone who was his master or his father. Yuan smiled proudly. But you look more like you're on vacation. Khalifa's next words made Yuan feel bad. Why do you say it so directly? Forget it, I'm just here to check in. You can do whatever you want. I won't interfere. Just give me a call when you need it. I just made a deal with Spangdine to come to Judiciary Island to protect his son. He directly said that there was a deal and used Spangdine's identity to pressure people. Yuan said that there was someone behind him. You agents don't get too crazy. Khalifa frowned, she didn't like this kind of person behind the scenes, especially now that the person behind the scenes involved Spangdine. Okay, as long as you don't affect us, we will share the credit with you. Lucci spoke to set the tone. Take a look at Rob Lookie and see the ruthlessness in his eyes. No wonder there is no overlord color in CP, this is an innate prohibition. No credit is needed, just be yourselves. Yuan smiled, turned, and left. After watching Yuan leave, Keiku looked at Liu Qi doubtfully, wondering why he didn't borrow Yuan's power. He is here for vacation. We just need to take him with us when we leave. It doesn't matter if we take him with us or not. CP, don't expect the Navy to help. Khalifa said calmly while holding a bottle of wine. That's right. He is the greatest help to us if he doesn't cause trouble or interfere randomly. Liu Qi knew about the bad blood between the Navy and CP. There have been situations where the two forces have fought against each other. A mission that involves both the Navy and CP at the same time will definitely end up stabbing each other in the back. In the next few days, Yuan and Catherine wandered around the capital of Seven Waters. Eat the super delicious fried rice seen in the original book, and go to the shipyard to see how the shipbuilders teach pirates a lesson. Although dull, it is very interesting. In the meantime, I also took a look at the melee to see the existence of the ship spirit. Until that day, Bruno came to them. In the meantime, I also watched Bruno, Khalifa, and others perform various operations, which made the entire atmosphere in the Seven Waters city tense. I saw the scene of the shipbuilders guarding the gate of Bingshan's house. He was framed, he was cautious, and he investigated carefully. Every step he took made people couldn't help but sigh that it was really amazing. This is what an agent should have. Through the window, Yuan couldn't help but sigh as he watched Keiku use his pulse to deduce the truth of the matter bit by bit. These four people, Liu Qi, are really strong. What's the use of the Pluto blueprint? Catherine also knew about their operational mission in the past few days, and couldn't help but ask. Yuan shrugged, not knowing. Legend has it that Pluto can destroy an island with one shot. Whoever owns him has the foundation to dominate the world. Catherine was silent for a moment, then held her stomach and laughed. Dominate the world? A ship? Are you kidding me? If it is so powerful and so useful, how could the world government not come to snatch it after the blueprints have been passed down for so many years? Catherine held her stomach and laughed, thinking the joke was funny. Yuan sat on the roof and saw that Liu Qi and others had left to catch Frankie. Let's go to the ship. I remember that one section of the sea train belongs to our navy. Arvin spread his wings and carried Catherine to the station. At this time, the station has been taken over by personnel from Judiciary Island. Navy Captain T-Pen has led the team to guard here. Yuan landed here. T-Pen wanted to salute, but Yuan stopped him. Get ready, CP9 is coming soon. Let's go to Judiciary Island and inform all the Navy to be prepared to fight for a day and a night. After Yuan explained, he sat on a chair on the train platform, waiting for the arrival of Liu Qi and others. The man in a black suit, without a mask, was holding Frenchie in his hand, followed by Nico Robin, and gradually walked out of the darkness. Arwen smiled when he saw Nico Robin. Hey, you are the child raised by senior brother Qing Pheasant. You have a good figure. Senior brother Qing Pheasant has good eyesight. He was raised by a Lolita. Robin glared at him but didn't dare say anything. Let's go. Liu Qi took Robin and others onto the train. Yuan followed suit with a smile. Catherine glared at Yuan angrily, I'm still here, but you're just looking at a beautiful woman's figure. Moreover, that woman's skin is so dark, what's so attractive about her? The train started, and Yuan smiled as he looked at the capital of Seven Waters getting further and further away and the crowds that had gathered on the platform. The battle on Judiciary Island was about to begin. Who does he need to find as an opponent to catch the fish? Chapter 37 Predicting News Headlines. Thinking about Yuan, he smiled. If Spangdine knew this idea, the old man would probably kill him directly. At that time, he will be the performance task of CP0 next month. The navy carriage was too crowded. Yuan frowned and took Catherine to the CP9 carriage in front. Hey, everyone, take a rest. The carriage at the back is too crowded. I enjoy it more and I'm not used to it. Yuan took Catherine to find a place to sit down. Rob Looky didn't even look at it, just resting on his own. The young master of the navy is different. He has to bring a woman with him when he comes out. Frankie couldn't help but taunted. He looked down upon a sailor like Yuan who would bring a woman with him when he went out. As soon as these words came out, Yuan immediately became interested. Ha ha ha, there is no way. My master is General Zifa, and the three generals are my senior brothers. They have a profound background. You should enjoy what you should enjoy. Frankie was speechless. Nico Robin next to him raised his head when he heard this and couldn't help but glance at Yuan. Are the three generals senior brothers? You know Ching Pheasant? What did you say about raising children just now? Nico Robin didn't understand Yuan's words. This time, even Rob Looky became interested and looked at Yuan to see what he could say. Yawning and leaning on the sofa, Yuan said casually, Oh, it's nothing. Those big shots in the navy like to raise children and train them from an early age. For example, Garp and Sengoku. In fact, you can see that in addition to Akainu, Garp, Sengoku, Aokiji, and Kizaru, there are more or less young people around them. Robin pursed his lips and said nothing. Sorry. Yuan suddenly said three words, which confused everyone present. Who are you apologizing to? Our navy couldn't stop what happened to O'Hara back then. Nico Robin didn't speak, and the four Rob Looky next to him didn't even speak. Hey, will the navy apologize too? You Marines have ruined other people's homes. What's the use of apologizing now? French scoffed loudly. Yuan was too lazy to pay attention to him. The principles of the navy also depend on who speaks them. There is a blue pheasant behind Nico Robin, I will definitely talk about it. Frankie saw that Yuan was silent and thought he was being reasonable. Yuan had nothing to say and continued, Isn't it that your navy is afraid that someone will find Pluto through history? Isn't it because you are afraid that we will create Pluto and threaten your status? Well. Arvin sneered, and Catherine was amused again. This guy has a problem with his vision. It's not like our navy doesn't have something that can destroy an island with one blow. Why care about a Hades? And if Hades was really that awesome, do you think pirates would still exist? Will his drawings still be in your hands and passed down from generation to generation? Yuan's light words stunned Frankie to death. It's not Yuan's fault. The military power controlled by the navy is enough to kill 90.00% of all existences except the world government. Then why are you still arresting Nico Robin and asking for the blueprints of Hades? Why are you arresting my master? French was unconvinced. Yuan sighed, he was tired of talking to idiots. He slowly raised his head and said helplessly, First, I am in the navy, and we are 2 departments from the CP. Second, although the Pluto drawing is not important, it is also the credit of walking and the credit that CP needs. French choked. And you idiot, think about what your master was arrested for. If your master hadn't built Roger the ship, would he have been caught? And the world government at that time also gave us the conditions to offset the merits and demerits. If you weren't a loser and fell into Spondam's scheme, your master would be alive and well now. Speaking of this, Yuan looked disgusted. Rob Looky also looked at Frankie with disgust. Even that loser Spondam can set you up. You are such a waste. Undisguised dislike. Khalifa felt that these were the only highlights of Spondam's life. I heard from Gabra occasionally that many of the recent achievements of CP9 are based on the detailed plans given by the above, and Spondam's biggest role is to convey them. Frankie was furious. It's a pity it's of no use. Yuan doesn't like this. The next encounters were Sanji and Usopp who came to the rescue and were easily dealt with. There were no more incidents along the way. Easily returned to the Isle of Justice. On the left is a man in a CP suit, and on the right is a naval soldier. The two teams greeted him, and the scene was quite grand. Yan waved to Mahler, who was standing in front. Tell your soldiers that no matter what happens later, take care of yourself and don't rush forward like you're desperate. Judiciary Island belongs to CP, not our Navy's Marine Fando, nor is it an advancement to imprison our Navy's criminals. City. Mahler's eyes were filled with shock at this time. What does this mean? There are still people who want to come to Judiciary Island to rob people. You mean, someone will come to Judiciary Island to rob people? Yan nodded slightly. There will always be some lawless people in this world. Yan said indifferently. Anyway, that's the way things are, he can just do whatever he needs to do. Give Spangdine a call. What's up? Nicole Robin has been escorted back to Judiciary Island. Kingji gave the golden phone bug to your son. What? First surprised, then ecstatic. Spandane said it was a sure thing. Nothing will happen to this one, it's stable. Arvind shrugged. If that's the case, then the devil fruit you want won't be enough with your CP side. Spangdine rolled his eyes and chuckled. Shameless. You guy, you finally showed your villainous side. Sir, please think carefully. I don't need the fruit. I will definitely not be too involved in this matter. Yan said with a fake expression. Spandane laughed. No problem, no problem. We've arrived at Judiciary Island, and there are still people who dare to intercept and kill us. This is an unprecedented event in 800 years. No one would dare. After sneering twice, Yan didn't reply and just hung up the phone. Slaps in the face often come quickly. Yan called Mahler again. Keep an eye on our ships and have people pack up all the Navy's warships on Judiciary Island and be ready to sail at any time. Yes. Mahler trusted Yavin's judgment. Next Yan tidied up, took a shower, lay on the bed and started to sleep. Once the curtains are drawn, no one cares. Free and carefree, this is who he is. Very cool. My little life was extremely enjoyable. The Navy on Judiciary Island secretly packed their luggage and loaded it onto the warships in batches. Mahler stood on the city wall at the entrance of Judiciary Island, looked at Luffy rushing up, and sighed. He really made his boss right. And the word Robin kept coming out of Luffy's mouth, and he had already guessed why. This Nico Robin is so charming. She can actually get people to come to Justice Island to intercept people for her. A major event that has not happened in 800 years. Mahler is already anticipating tomorrow's headlines. Chapter 38, Complaining while watching a show. Why? Don't he know the consequences of coming to Judiciary Island to intercept people? Mahler didn't understand, not at all. Still, he's an idiot. Mahler really didn't know. A normal person would rather go to Impel City than come to Judiciary Island. Impel Down will at best offend the Navy. But the one that Judiciary Island will offend is the world government, which is a terrifying existence larger than the Navy. This is love. Yan suddenly appeared behind Mahler, talking random nonsense. Mahler looked solemn. Probably, this is the only explanation. Catherine also appeared and looked at the two of them speechlessly. One dared to speak and the other dared to answer. Major General, why don't you go down and stop me? Luffy had already rushed into the first door, Mahler said doubtfully. Shrugging, Yan said he was helpless. If you don't stop it, Judiciary Island is not directly under the Navy. Besides, his surname is Menki. I call my master Zifa every day. Who doesn't know that General Zifa and Lieutenant General Garp have a close relationship? They are classmates, carry guns, and have a relationship with each other. If I go down and take action, it's not a slap in the face. Yan said that he was unwilling to take action. Moreover, Yan maliciously speculated that this was also the reason why the 5 lieutenants did not take action in the original demon-slaying order. Probably they are still secretly happy. After receiving his own navy, he directly slaughtered Judiciary Island. The author of the demon-slaying order of 5 lieutenant generals received the navy went back and read it himself. He really bombarded it after receiving it, so he went back to read the Judiciary Island incident. Mahler glanced at his superior and complained. You really understand the ways of the world. Yan didn't care what his men thought, he just stood on the city wall and continued to watch Luffy perform his best below. Too weak. But Judiciary Island's troops are weaker. Mahler couldn't help but sigh. Is Luffy strong? It's very good. Lieutenant General Garp only trained his body and did not systematically learn combat skills. It is already very good to reach this point at this age. Arvin yawned, he was sleepy again. Catherine stood aside silently. Suddenly, there was a noise below, and a group of people dressed like hooligans and with a more like hooligan temperament rushed in driving two sea beasts. A sea train rushed in. Yuan's eyes widened, it was really good, it was such a famous scene. These are not the Straw Hats, but the shipbuilders from Carrera Shipbuilding Company in the Seven Waters capital, right? Mahler pointed at the middle-aged man in the crowd who was having a baby, and said speechlessly. Why did they come? Are the people at Carrera Company crazy? They think the world government dare not touch them. And they survive by receiving a large number of orders from the government and navy. What should this behavior be called now? Mahler was speechless. Please, you, Carrera, are a big company and are in the news from time to time. Why are you here to join in the fun? Yuan scratched his head and said casually, this kind of behavior should be called picking up a bowl and scolding your mother. After all, they have eaten food provided by the government and the navy. Now they come here to attack the government's legal authority. It is really a bit excessive. Yuan really felt worthless for the government and navy this time. After all, the government and the navy give Carrera a large number of orders every year, which is all money and money. Mahler was silent for a moment and continued, so Bing Shan, the mayor of the Seven Waters capital, is a smart man. After integrating the shipyards in the entire Seven Waters capital, they will have a say in the government. Yuan nodded in agreement. That's right, there really aren't many other things in this world but smart people. Catherine was a little bored. She saw that the people in her detachment also started to join the battle, and she thought about it. Go down, it's okay if you don't intervene, take care of yourself, just give me a few fake hits. Protect yourself and the lives of your navy. Yuan said without looking back. Mahler did not want to pay attention to the two people and continued to watch the drama below. Mahler sighed when he saw the two goalkeeper giants defeated. The military strength of Judiciary Island is really too weak. A group of shipbuilders and a group of hooligans defeated them and broke through several doors in a row. Even with their navy's reckless behavior, it wouldn't be such a waste. Arvin leaned against the wall and yawned again. It's normal. I haven't had a few fights in 800 years. How strong can I be? It can be seen that they are fighting desperately and really want to defend the dignity of Judiciary Island, but weakness is weakness. Yuan is still very optimistic about these armies. The French dog team, which had just been defeated, was still charging to death. There are also those soldiers in the CP department who are still charging despite being injured, but they are not afraid. But they haven't played against anyone a few times. They have good qualities, but they can't use them at all. Finally, there was a battle that attracted the two of them. Stepping on the moon steps and following the battlefield, Yuan and I saw the battle between Luffy and Bruno. This battle successfully aroused the interest of the two. This one is really good. Finally it was two guys with combat experience fighting. Very nice. Damn Navy, how dare you deceive us, deceive the giants of Elbaf. The angry roar brought back Yuan who was just enjoying the show. The two giants who had been knocked down had already stood up and began to attack the navy and CPS. Yuan sighed and patted Mahler on the shoulder. Watch the show by yourself and make good arrangements for the navy. I will stop the two giants. Mahler nodded, go ahead, you are a master of force, and I am here to command and control the battlefield and logistics. Oyamo, Cassie, are you two guys going to rebel? Yuan spread his wings and flew in front of the two of them and asked loudly. Oyamo and Cassie glared at Yuan, clenched the maces and axes in their hands, and roared, we are not rebelling, we just want revenge. You deceived our feelings and let us waste 50 years in vain. Arvin yawned. Did our navy negotiate with you at that time? The sudden question left the two giants scratching their heads. Oyamo scratched his head, no, it was the then judge on Judicial Island who talked about it. That's fine. Since it's not the case, then why did you just call the navy to deceive you? It directly insulted the reputation of our navy. It's really infuriating. Yuan was furious but didn't make any move. Remember, next time you call out whoever cheated, don't push it on the navy's head. Our navy is also very helpless. We are only responsible for arresting people. Those responsible for reviewing are the world government, the people on Judicial Island, and us. It has something to do with ghosts. You called the navy to deceive your feelings, which made us very embarrassed. Besides, we only cheat little girls, not big men who pick their feet. Yuan landed on a nearby building and reasoned with the two giants. The corners of Mahler's mouth twitched as he stared at the battlefield from behind, and the navy was even worse in your mouth. And instead of fighting and killing all day long, we can just sit down and talk. Yuan frightened the two giants, and he actually sat down and started talking with Yuan, complaining about it from 50 years ago to now. Usopp, who was sitting on the giant's shoulders, was completely stunned. That's it, that made the giant stop. The powerful foreign aid I just brought in is just gone? Long nose over there, if you have nothing to do, you can leave first. Arvin pointed at Usopp and motioned for him to get out quickly and not delay his fishing. Oimo motioned to Yuan to wait and put Usopp in his hand. Sniper King, thank you for telling our captain. I will send you to see your captain right now. After saying that, without waiting for Usopp to react, he threw himself forward. Reckless man! Yuan complained in his heart. Chapter 39. Oimo finished throwing Usopp away, sat down again, and began to complain with Yuan. Actually, we are willing to believe in the navy. Many of our giant brothers in Elbaf have joined the navy. Yuan very much agrees with this point of view, yes. Yes, that's why I said you must clearly distinguish the object of hatred. Our navy has always been friendly to the giants. The ones who deceived your feelings are those bastards from CP. They have nothing to do with us. We are two departments. Weimo nodded wildly and also agreed. Two giants, why don't you change departments and come directly to our navy? Otherwise, after the incident is over, you can go to the small garden to find your captain. It's also good to go back to Elbafu. Anyway, we won't be on Judiciary Island. As for the aftermath, our navy is here to help solve it. Weimo showed an expression of disbelief. He didn't quite believe that Yuan could solve it. Yuan quickly said, don't worry, my status in the navy is quite high. Zifa is my teacher, the three generals are my senior brothers, and the marshal is my senior uncle. We are all a family. It is a piece of cake to solve your trivial matter. When Oimo heard this, he immediately became happy, so we believed it. In any case, they have stayed on Judiciary Island for 50 years and have a certain understanding of naval official positions. And there are more than a dozen giant vice-admirals in the navy now, and they will also help you. If you don't believe it, I'll call the navy now and ask the giant vice-admiral to talk to you. Upon hearing this, the two giants Oimo and Cassie became excited. But, we may not know this giant lieutenant general. Will he help us? The two giants still hesitated. They were pirates in the past and had different identities. Lieutenant General John Jandot, you should know him. Yuan still remembered that at a certain gathering, he heard this lieutenant general say that he had a good status in Elbaf and was known to all the giants. Oimo suddenly became excited. I know, it's brother John. Make a phone call and ask John Jandot to give the two giants a hard talk and tell them to stay well. John Jandot will be free to sail a boat to pick them up in a while and take them back to Elbaf. As for the giant warriors, as long as they are not guilty of serious crimes, the world government mostly chooses to ignore them and send them back to Elbaf to let the giant elders teach them a lesson. Of course, the navy itself has the right to execute some serious crimes. The giant pirates are more like pirate groups than adventure groups. They basically capture them and send them back to Elbaf. Looking at the huge bodies of the two guys, Yuan had to sigh that the giants were uniquely blessed with very good combat power. Basically, an adult giant will have the combat effectiveness of a rear admiral, and with training, it will reach the level of a lieutenant general. Although their combat effectiveness at sea is always limited due to their large size and inconvenient movement, their combat effectiveness is still undeniable. But the navy still likes to recruit them as combat force, they are really useful. The effect may not be very good when used to fight bosses, but the effect is still good when used to fight minions, and it has a full sense of oppression. If you recruit a monster giant like Ant during the recruitment, you will make a lot of money. The most important thing is that the cost of training the giants is very low. You only need to take care of a few meals to gain a strong combat power. How great! While the three were chatting, the radio suddenly heard a conversation between Spondam and Nico Robin. Mahler's face turned gloomy after hearing this. Catherine was immediately confused, and Reno, who was fishing among the crowd, said he was stupid. This is truly the most careless demon-slaying order ever. This sentence appeared in everyone's ears at the same time. Mahler quickly rushed to the broadcast room, turned on the phone bug, and dialed Yuan's phone, so that his voice could be heard throughout the judicial island through the phone bug. The phone bug connected successfully, Yuan said calmly. All Navy and government staff should immediately put down the fighting in their hands, rush to the port immediately, board the ship in an orderly manner, and leave Judiciary Island. CP9 members' phone calls remain open. No matter what the outcome of your mission is, you must report it and we will arrange the evacuation. I order you as Rear Admiral of the Navy Headquarters. My teacher is General Zifa, my uncle is the Warring States Marshal and the Hero Garb, and the 3 generals are my senior brothers. If something happens, I can afford it. Yuan's voice was very calm, but the series of relationships made people very reassuring. The Navy and government personnel who knew what the demon-slaying order was immediately put down the fight in their hands and prepared to evacuate after Yuan came out to guarantee it. Rob Lookie listened to the voice on the radio, touched the phone bug in his pocket, and felt slightly relieved. Be sure to retain the ability to make phone calls. Gabra looked at the ceiling, lying on the ground clutching his chest, listening to Ryavan's voice on the radio, and smiled sarcastically. My boss is running for his life, and his boss is trying to save people and taking responsibility. There is such a huge gap. Oyamo and Cassie were a little confused about Yuan's behavior. Why do you want to save CP9 and the others? In their memories, CP is not a good person. Yuan stood up and said with a smile, pry the corner of the wall. These CP9 members are very capable. If they are retained in the Navy, we can strengthen a wave of the Navy's shortcomings. Oyamo and Cassie don't understand, and Yuan doesn't need 2 people to understand. You 2, go to the warship quickly. I'm going to save people. Oyamo and Cassie left quickly. Yuan flew down to Sanji and Zoro, who had already won. You 2, take the people from Carrera Company and leave quickly. Don't wait for the demon-slaying order to come, otherwise you will die ugly. After saying this, Yuan will leave, as long as the news is given. In the Navy headquarters, not long after John Jandot hung up the phone, he heard the silver phone bug ringing. When asked if he was on Judiciary Island, his face instantly darkened. Damn it, Oyamo and Cassie, those 2 wretches. He cursed angrily and quickly walked towards the port. John Jando request a mission. Ghost Spider thought for a moment and stopped. Judiciary Island, whether you can go or not, out of sight, out of mind. The rest of the lieutenant generals don't care. The demon-slaying order is easy to implement. After holding on to time, Yuan breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Mahler and others loading all the Navy and personnel onto the warship and staying a certain distance away from Judiciary Island. Although the Navy also picked up this group of people in the original work, he didn't dare to gamble. Standing on the high building, looking at Lucci and Luffy who were still fighting, Yuan started the melon-eating mode again. An air door opened next to it, and Bruno appeared with the defeated CP9 group. Nuri and Owl supported each other, Keiku was put aside by Gabra, and Gabra also gave Khalifa his own clothes to wear. Glancing at the crowd, Yuan sneered, I think you all lost to the Iron Bar. Is it because you are all good friends? At this moment, Gabra and the others hardened their fists. Want to hit him? Chapter 40. Iron Block. As Lucci roared, Luffy's fist fell like a storm, knocking Lucci down alive. This can be considered part of the plot. It's appropriate to shave at this time. Yuan couldn't help but complain. At this moment, even the other members of CP9 were confused as to why Liu Qi also died under the iron block. Do they have a taboo with CP9 and iron? However, when the war came to an end, they could say nothing more. Bruno opened an air door, and Gabra pulled Lucci over. Go to my warship and I'll talk to the 5 lieutenant generals. Judiciary Island must be ruined. Without saying a word, Yavin spread his wings, soared into the sky, and rushed to the warship of his old acquaintance Stolberg. On the other side, Oyamo and John Jando had already met. The originally crowded warship immediately relaxed, and John took over some naval soldiers. When Yavin landed on Stolberg's warship, he just stood on the warship and watched the Navy following below fighting with the Straw Hats. A small part of the Navy is fighting the Straw Hats, while the rest are manipulating the ship's cannon to cover and bomb Judiciary Island. However, Yavin felt that Stolberg was in a good mood. Seeing Yavin's arrival, Stolberg smiled, took out a cigar from his arms and threw it over. Yuan hung up and stood with him. Is it really okay if you don't take action? Senior brother Stolberg. With a sneer, Stolberg said nonchalantly, look at the soldiers who control the cannons, do they have smiles on their lips? Bombarding Judiciary Island, one of the forces controlled by CP, is the dream of many navies. Isn't it yours? Yan was speechless, what he said was so true. What are the naval casualties? What are the CP casualties? Stolberg asked another question. Arvin blew out a puff of smoke. The Straw Hats below had already picked up Luffy and were trying to figure out how to escape. It's so weak. This warship hasn't even started chasing it with all its firepower. It's okay. There are 0 casualties among the Navy on Judiciary Island, and there are only a few injured. You can see that everyone is going to kill you. Stolberg was visibly relieved and his mood became brighter. You did a great job. I heard that you brought all the Navy to the warships and transferred the manpower in advance. This is very good. We are here to blow up the island, not our own people. Yan nodded. I have also received all the CP9s and plan to get them to work in the Navy. Don't tell me, you need to find General Aokiji and Marshal Warring States for this. Stolberg showed his neutralist thoughts. He did not want to be tainted with this topic. It's become a big deal now, the entire judicial island is gone, and it's time for the old guys in the government to be held accountable again. King Z suddenly appeared on the warship pushing a bicycle, scratching his head and saying in confusion. It seems that the only way to escape guilt is to catch the Straw Hats. Stolberg answered from the side. Aokiji also walked over and looked at the navy below who had successfully captured the ship and chased the Straw Hats onto the bridge. Allah, unless there is a miracle, otherwise, the only way they can go is to be caught. So weak, Qingji complained in his heart. Just as Yan was about to answer that there would be a miracle, he suddenly heard a call from his soul, I'm here to take you home. A violent storm suddenly appeared on the sea, and a huge whirlpool appeared on the sea. The Straw Hats suddenly jumped from the bridge. Are you going to jump into the sea to escape? On other warships, Doberman sneered and directed his men to fire into the sea. What should be done was still done. Suddenly a sheep-headed boat appeared in the sea and caught the Straw Hats who jumped off. All the navy who saw this scene were stunned. What the hell is this? CP9's Gabra was even more confused. He didn't know what was going on. He was really knowledgeable. It's the ship spirit. The ship spirit of the pirate ship. Yan said softly. This group of people, really value their companions. King Z showed a satisfied smile. Nico Robin, congratulations on finally finding your place. However, Yan glanced at the green pheasant next to him and grinned, Kuzan. You have a very strong taste. What the hell? Qing Pheasant looked confused, what was the strong taste? You actually like to play lowly training. You have been raising Nico Robin for 20 years, from a flat-chested dark Lolita to the royal sister you are today. When are you going to start? Bring her to Malinfando. A wretched smile appeared on Yavin's face. Stolberg turned around, his shoulders shaking, and the rest of the navy looked like shit. Is this such a breaking news? General Aokiji is worthy of being a general. He did things that we wanted to do but didn't dare to do. It seems that we should also play a nurturing game, from Lolita to royal sister. If she gets married, she can also try the taste of a married woman. If she marries someone first, she can also try sister-in-law and widow. The general is so powerful. A navy murmured. No wonder they are admirals, they know how to play, they are awesome, they succeed in playing things that they cannot play every time. Qing Pheasant is so sharp and clear. Hearing the private discussion made him feel bad. His great reputation was ruined by Yan. Eiffel Avon. The green pheasant roared lowly. Senior brother Kuzan, you don't have to call me like this, I can hear you. Do you want to die? Qing Pheasant's hands were covered with a layer of frost, hugging Yan away. Spread your wings and escape instantly. General Qing Pheasant must be angry because of his embarrassment. Must be angry. That's right, that's it. The general also wants to lose face. Let's not discuss this in the future. The conversation between the navy below made King Z even more helpless. This time I jumped into the new world and couldn't clean it up. Stolberg had regained his composure, took out a cigar from his arms and handed it to Qingji. They were all men, and he understood that none of them had any special quirks. Qingji gritted his teeth and took the cigar, looked at the I understand you in Stolberg's eyes, General, and secretly said with hatred, Stolberg, I will transfer you to the new world to fight the 4 emperors later. Before that, though. Stolberg, how did Major General Yavin behave in this demon-slaying order incident? General, he has performed well and will be the future pillar of our navy. Then what do you think about me assigning him to assassinate the red-haired Shanks? Is that okay? King Zi showed a cruel smile. The Marines next to them immediately stopped their discussion. Oh my god, the good-tempered General Qing Pheasant has gone crazy. Very good, I totally agree. Stolberg didn't want to mess with the blue pheasant at all at this time. Aoki stood up, patted Stolberg on the shoulder, and answered very well. When you come back, you can sign a letter with me. Mud, you've been cheated. This bastard Qing Pheasant. Stolberg's face instantly darkened. What a disaster. Like and subscribe for more stories like this.